Recording?
Everybody good? We're recording? Everybody good? I'm about to start. All right. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Sports Gaming Anonymous podcast. I am your official host, Flash, a.k.a. Ree. And with me today, the squad. First up, my man, partner in crime, Dash. What's up?
Yo. What's good?
He's here. He's awake. And, of course, the best producer in the business, Dre Dubs.
Over here eating some chips and looking ugly, so y'all ain't gonna see me today.
Wow, that's a strong confession. Appreciate that. And of course, your favorite rapper's favorite rapper, my man, my homie, C1. What's up?
What's happening?
Man, he's
I didn't know Dre Dubs now. He went ahead and upped his name. He coming up in this world.
We put a stamp on that. You know, around these parts, you get a nickname. We stamp it. It's done.
You big homie now. You Dre Dubs.
Off and running with it. That's it. Once we put a stamp on it.
I
like it.
I got Dre Dubs. I got Dre Speed. Now I don't know. I'm running out of nicknames.
That's not it.
You gotta be Dre RN.
I feel like
Speed doesn't exist. I don't know who calls you that, but
doesn't exist. Oh, I'm gonna have to show you the picture then. I got proof,
What
evidence,
picture?
everything.
You about to be nurse practitioner Dre.
Yikes.
Nurse practitioner.
Oh man. So
it's just a step below doctor, but it's up there though. What's up there?
I ain't even in the medical field.
That's what I'm saying.
Wow.
It's the irony.
Wait till I get this FE.
I don't think you understand how irony works.
PE license.
I like it
English
though.
is hard. So
I don't really be paying attention to half the stuff C says until he gets to the end anyway.
I'm just showing appreciation. That's all, my brother.
Yeah, well, you gotta let him get the whole thing out. So we're here and we'll kick it off with a little bit of sports stuff just because that's where we're at. And
boo.
And
everybody boo.
We'll move real quick from NBA Finals. We've got two teams for the NBA Finals, right?
Oh,
no, we don't, because the Celtics didn't make it, so we ain't talking about the NBA Finals.
Lakers and Heat.
Jimmy!
We are not talking. Let's talk about some hockey, some baseball.
Lakers and Heat.
I hear Celtics fan. Get him out of here.
We ain't talking no football and no basketball.
We took them L's today.
Speaking of football, I mean, I don't really have nothing to bring up because I'm not talking about my team. I don't care.
Man, let's talk about my man MJ. How about that?
Oh, I mean, that's a good point of reference.
Nah, he tried to lure him in. Look.
Let's talk about my man MJ.
I mean, that's an easy lure in for me.
And this NASCAR move with this man Bubba dog.
Right. It's funny how quickly that information just like was there and then like swept under the rug real quick.
Real fast.
I'm
really excited for the move. Like, I'm actually excited to
now
potentially go and catch one of these races.
Right. I didn't get
good job though.
I didn't get all the details. Like, did he start a whole?
So the team has been created, but the full roster hasn't been released.
Right. But Bubba Wallace is
driver is Bubba. So in January in 2021, that season will be when that car gets revealed and all those things happen.
I will say this about NASCAR, since I don't know how we got here, but I will say this, that it's interesting. I found myself that short space of time living in Washington. I found myself actually watching NASCAR on TV. I did a lot of strange things in Washington. I was watching Friends. I was playing Nintendo 64. I was watching NASCAR. It was an interesting time for me.
Yeah, but you're from New York, so isn't watching Friends not that?
Dude, I watched we watched Seinfeld.
Friends ain't for black people.
Seinfeld, bro. They're not even black people in Friends.
It's in New York, and you don't see no black people on the show.
In a coffee shop. There's no black people come through there.
You just don't see any people of color.
Bro, there's no black people in Friends. Right. There at least a few times, black people showed up in Seinfeld.
There might be 5 whole black people on the entire running on the show, and they might have just been extras.
I don't even think it was that many, quite frankly.
They just accidentally walked into the wrong studio set.
It was like almost intentional.
Right. But yeah, that was a weird time. But I got into watching NASCAR on TV, and I found it to be much more interesting than I originally thought it was. It's really it's crazy. Like
you play racing games.
I know, but you would think going around the same oval over and over again. Racing games is different because they got different maps, and it's got different intricacies to the map. NASCAR is just
got that team element.
Oval, just going around and around. It does, and it's just like it's fascinating to watch. I've never gone to an event, but those look lit. I mean, granted, there aren't a lot of us out there, if we're being honest. But there's there's
it's interesting.
It's
fun. It's exciting.
There's some interesting people to meet out there if you're, single,
into that.
If you're into that, and but I'll leave that right there where it is on the table. But yeah, it's interesting, and I think it could bring in, MJ starting a team and bringing in Bubba. That could really jumpstart interest. For the community, for the Black community in NASCAR that wasn't previously there. Because people heard about it and it was like,
pull up with the Henny bottles.
Oh man, don't do that. That's not. We can't even.
Wow.
The Henny bottles.
Tailgating with Henny. I'm about 20 minutes from the Atlanta Speedway, so we could do that.
Hey, I'm with that. I don't mind. Like there's something I've never done, so I wouldn't mind doing it. Like I would go and check it out. The crazy thing about it is that you just have to go and you're still just watching because you can't really do much talking because it's too loud. So everybody's got headphones on.
Nah, people outside, they got they tailgating, they got their car open with the TV in the back of the car with the gate.
The RVs and all that are in the middle sometimes.
And they grilling, they chilling.
Like their own little tailgate.
It's still hard to hear though. I don't know if you've been that close.
I mean, you're not really out there to talk.
So,
you have
like
to
my
talk
dad grew up
in
Darlington.
Okay.
So, and in Darlington, you've got the Speedway down there. Now, it's not used as much here recently.
Right.
Because I don't think it's part of the circuit anymore. But it used to be part of the circuit series. So we used to hear the cars going at that stadium all the time.
Interesting. Yeah, exactly. So, like I said, it's loud, but I'd be interested to check it out. So that's a fun fact thing for NASCAR to have something going like that. I don't want to, everybody's team is trash, so I don't want to dig too deep into the NFL. But I do have a kind of an outlining question, not getting into specifics about teams. Is Josh Allen an MVP candidate right now?
No.
The only MVP candidate is Russell Wilson.
Well, I mean, legitimately, yes. But is Josh Allen in the conversation? Like
Josh Allen is
in the conversation for Offensive Player of the Year, but not MVP.
Yeah, like
what's the Bills' record?
You still got to put Lamar there. You still
the Bills. I think the Bills just lost today.
No,
I think they won.
They did.
So are they 2-1 or 3-0?
Aaron Rodgers still hooping.
Sure, but you can have several names in the conversation. I'm just curious if his name is in the conversation.
At the bottom part of it.
You know, with the younger quarterbacks, they don't really make friends.
Yeah, the Bills are 3-0.
I mean, they 3-0. He's balling. Like what he had 4 touchdowns this week, 5 last week.
Think about what happened to like Watson or like Wentz a few years back.
What's the numbers on Josh Allen? Drake, let me get the numbers on Josh Allen while they talk.
I'm about to say how many yards on those?
Yeah, because while you waiting on that, I'm just saying it's like. You think about when Watson or Wentz was playing, they was balling out of control a couple of years back, and you didn't really hear them get brought into the conversation.
I mean, Wentz was in the conversation.
Wentz was in the MVP conversation until he got hurt. So today was Josh Allen's first interception of the season.
Bruh.
Ooh, excuse me. So on the season, he has let me go to his season stats. He's got 10 touchdown passes, 1 interception. And the Bills are 3-0.
And how many rushing touchdowns he
has? Now, I'm not – because it hasn't updated, so I'm doing like the math off the top of my head.
Right.
But after 2 games, he completed 70% of his passes. So I'm pretty sure even after today, he's still somewhere around that.
Probably.
He has no fumbles, unless he fumbled today.
I'm not sure if he did or not. But rushing touchdowns, he got to be –
He's top 5 in the NFL in QBR, even though I don't really care about QBR like that.
That's a Skip Bayless stat.
He's averaging 7 yards a rush. Or my bad. That was his rookie year. He's averaging 4 to 5 yards a rush right now. He does have a rushing touchdown.
Just one?
He does have a fumble. He just doesn't have. He has a fumble via rushing, not a fumble from the.
He only got one rushing touchdown.
Let me see if he got one today.
I feel like he did.
If he got one today, then he has. Yeah, so he has 2 because he had one today.
All right, so 12 total touchdowns, 1 interception.
He has a completion rate of 71%.
High completion percentage. His yardage total has got to be high because his first.
He's got 3 fumbles on the season, and he's thrown for
second in the league. Second in the league in pass yards.
Who are his opponents?
Hey.
So the Bills are up 28-3 on the Rams today. The Rams came back.
Yeah, they came back, but the
Bills came back and they won the game 35-32.
Wow.
Last week they played the Dolphins. They won 31-28, which it probably shouldn't have been that close. And in week 1, they played the Jets and they won 27-17. So really today was their first test because the Jets are trash. The Dolphins are the Dolphins.
They're all right. They're not as trash as the Jets, no, but they're not good either.
So today was their first test. Now next week they've got the Raiders.
Raiders?
They got Raiders next week. And then after that they have the Titans. And then after that they have the Chiefs.
We'll talk again.
There you go.
We'll talk.
So they could really be 5. They could, potentially be 5-0, 4-1.
That's cool, and that's fine. I just think that these first 3 weeks.
2-1. This next 3, 2-1.
Yeah.
The Bills are one of them teams that the league is more exciting when they're good.
Since when?
Interesting take. I mean,
the Bills haven't been relevant since the 90s.
I think
the league has been very exciting.
I think his statement goes. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that the foundation of that statement is to reference the fact that it means that somebody can, in years prior,
not be the Patriots.
Exactly.
That's all I wanted to say.
Right. Exactly.
Okay,
I think that was.
Yeah, but that was going to happen
because the Jets were never any good.
They don't have Brady.
And the Dolphins.
The Jets have had a couple of years where they was all right though.
Yeah, that was a.
I mean, that was Mark Sanchez's.
I don't remember the last time they've been dominant, but they've been
Mark Sanchez's rookie year and his second year. That's when they went to the AFC Championship.
Yeah, when they had those good defenses. That was kind of the last time they.
Yeah, not with Mark Sanchez.
No.
It's just that
Mark Sanchez. He was the quarterback.
Right. He happened to be the quarterback.
That's it.
But the Dolphins haven't been good, and that is a good point because when the Bills are good, it's somebody that can beat the Patriots.
Yeah.
And
the Dolphins were just
exciting, but
4 years ago.
Yeah, true.
4 or 5 years ago.
But now that the Patriots aren't going to be the same Patriots that we know.
But they still playing good.
They won again today, and Cam didn't even play that good today, and they still won.
Let's be honest, though, like the Patriots having such a dominant period of time over the NFL kind of made the AFC a little bit boring.
Yeah, of course it did.
Because you just expect the Patriots.
The last time it wasn't boring was when the Colts were also good, and Peyton Manning had a chance to beat them every year.
Yeah.
More times than not, he didn't, but he was at least there. You at least knew that matchup was going to happen. You're like, all right, let's see. We got a shot. Somebody beat these Patriots. And, things happen. But but by the way, Peyton Manning is still better than Tom Brady. So we got that out there.
Let's talk about it.
I mean,
we're watching Brady now on his second team. This is something that Joe Montana did. This is something that Peyton did.
And Montana was good.
Peyton started tremendous with
for a totally different team.
He did, and Montana was decent. Was good with
the difference was Montana joined a team whose offensive coordinator came from the Bill Walsh system.
Right.
So it was still,
and they went to the playoffs.
Like it was still the same system for him. When Peyton went to the Broncos, they basically said, "Look, run this offense however you want to run it," because we weren't doing anything with Tebow. We were just running the ball and throwing 5 times a game, basically running the option offense. And then with Brady, he has to actually run Bruce Arians' offense.
Right.
And so it's not as easy of a transition.
No, but for my money's worth, I still think
Peyton's still better.
Peyton's still better than Brady.
Yeah, we're looking at Tom Brady. Tom Brady right now is a middle of the pack quarterback in the league as he stands right now statistically.
Yeah, I mean that's it's going to take them as he breaks up. I don't know if it's everybody else is frozen. Maybe it's just me.
Listening.
Tom Brady right now is serviceable, but he's also on a very talented team.
Right.
So they're doing all right now because of that.
We'll see what happens.
It's still week 3.
Basically.
Yeah, it's still early. It's week 3.
But
I mean,
this is how Peyton Manning was on those Broncos.
The NFC East is still trash.
Yeah, well, that's not going to change.
And you all the fucking Tampa Bay need to do is literally make it out. That's it. They don't, no matter what their record is, they just got to try and make it out. Get close. Wild card at best.
Isn't this the first year where they allowed the 7th team in the playoffs?
Yeah, this is the first season. So they changed the playoff structure.
Ugh, God, here we
go. The
bye
week only goes to the top seed now in each conference.
Right.
And then
one more team in.
You've got 4 wild card teams.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like that's their only goal, to get him to the playoffs by any means necessary. Once they get there, they're gonna be probably good.
Yeah.
Because really, if you look at the NFC, depending on how the season plays out, the NFC West could potentially have 4 teams in the playoffs.
No,
but listen as to why.
Could.
I said
he's
potentially.
Not wrong.
Because if you look at the NFC South, a lot of people don't expect the Panthers to make the playoffs. With the way the Falcons are blowing leads, a lot of people aren't expecting them to make the playoffs. So you just have the Saints and the Bucks. If they can get their acts together, then granted, both of them can make it. But if not, then you just have one of those as a division winner going in. The NFC East, only one team from the NFC East is going to the playoffs. Eagles are playing trash. Washington is Washington. The Giants are playing like trash. And the Cowboys are playing good. They just can't close out games. Besides the Falcons game. But I'm not even I'm counting that more to the Falcons gave the Cowboys that game instead of the Cowboys actually winning that
Both
game.
of us, that ass should be 0-3 right now.
Exactly. Like Washington really should be the only team in the division with a win. Then in the NFC North, you've got the Packers who are playing well. You've got the Bears who just benched Trubisky today and put Nick Foles in, and the Bears just pulled the Cowboys on the Falcons. Then you've got the Vikings who are up and down all week, and then you've got the Lions who no one is expecting to.
The Lions just beat the Cards today.
Yeah, but no one's expecting to make the playoffs.
No.
You don't know.
No one's expecting who to make the playoffs.
The Lions.
No, the Lions.
The Lions got DeAndre Swift. They upgraded their secondary.
The same person that dropped the touchdown pass that would have won them week 1.
I mean, rookies make mistakes. It's week 1. That's a big moment. You know, you can't be mad at that.
But you're also putting the onus of the playoffs on a rookie.
That same guy doesn't drop the same pass in week 17.
But you're putting that same pressure on that rookie, like because they have this rookie, they're going to make the playoffs. This is still the same team that's won like the same amount.
I understand what you're getting at, but listen, here's my objection. This is what I'm looking at.
Well, hang on. Let me finish my point first.
Go ahead.
So that's the NFC South, the NFC East, and the NFC North. So you got the NFC West, Seahawks, undefeated, MVP. Right. Well, no, I think they lost week 1, didn't they? No, they won.
No.
So Russell Wilson, leading MVP candidate, straight up. The 49ers, if they didn't have all those injuries against the Giants last week, they would potentially be a 10-11 win team. Cardinals are playing well because Kyler Murray is electrifying out here. He did have a lot of turnovers today, but they still came back. They still had a chance to win that game. And then the Rams are the Rams. Like, until the season goes a little bit further, when we can actually see what they are, they're still a good team that you got to prepare for. Aaron Donald is throwing 300-pound linemen like they're feathers.
I mean, the Rams are the Rams, but we don't know what that is. We don't even know what that means.
Right. So that's why out of all four divisions, and because of how trash the NFC East is, you could potentially, with the 49ers, with their injuries, and the Rams with their inconsistency being kind of like the wild card, you could potentially have 4 NFC West teams in the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to speak up and object against that immediately, just based on those 49ers injuries. So what I'm looking at is Tevin Coleman, Dee Ford, Jimmy Garoppolo, Dre Greenlaw, George Kittle, Raheem Mostert, Jason Verrett, and Ahkello Witherspoon.
Now, didn't I just say potentially?
This isn't a 10-win team.
Okay, so you didn't.
This is a team with a top 10 draft pick.
I said that they could, if they didn't have those injuries week 2, they would potentially be a 10 to 11 win team. Obviously, because they have those injuries, their projection is different. Make sure you catch episode 2 of In the Cut where we talked about that.
Okay.
Check it out.
So the thing about that is, because we said as the season goes along, when you have injuries and stuff like that, you have to adjust your basically
game plans.
Not necessarily your game plan, but whatever outside you had for a team. So like the year Tom Brady tore his ACL in week 1, everyone had the Patriots going to the playoffs, win the Super Bowl, blah blah blah. Even though Matt Castle came in and they went 11-5, no one expected them to go 11-5. Like everyone immediately changed their predictions. They're like, okay, the Patriots ain't it this year, yada yada.
That's how we knew it was a system thing, not a Brady thing. But continue.
When who was it? When like for us, when we kept going back and forth with Wentz and Foles the year after we won the Super Bowl, like people didn't know, okay, the Eagles ain't it. Like it's gonna be Dallas, it's gonna win this division, and yada yada. With last year with Tom Brady and his age wise, people's predictions were changing. So as things go and happen throughout the year, like your predictions, they change. And injury is a major part of that. When you've got a big star that gets hurt, different things. That Ben Roethlisberger last year, that completely changed the outlook of the Steelers season. So you have to take that kind of stuff into effect. But when you look at it as in a vacuum, well, people kind of expected them to. No one, because the Ravens came out of nowhere. No one expected the Ravens to do what the Ravens did last year. Because Lamar was outstanding. I mean, we saw it in college, but no one thought that was going to happen in the NFL. I mean, especially his second year and his first year as a full starter. You always have to look at that. But that's why I just said potentially. So like if this was like everything on paper, but the way things looked at the beginning of the season, yeah. But right now, most likely you'll have Bucks and Saints coming out the South. You'll have Seahawks and Rams, or Seahawks and Cardinals coming out of the West. The East is only having one playoff team, and the North is kind of a toss-up because it all depends on if Nick Foles' magic happens with the Bears, then boom, they're right there in it. And then the Vikings, they're
trading back Alshon Jeffrey too.
Well, I don't know. With the way our receivers are playing, we really need Alshon because DJ can't stretch, and he always got a hamstring injury.
He never stretched.
AJ can't even get a target. Rager's out for like 6-8 weeks. Greg Ward once again is the only wide receiver.
Guess who hooping too? Guess who fucking hooping?
Greg Ward.
No.
Oh, Jefferson.
Yes.
But today was his first week where he actually had like a highlight.
Well, that's because he actually got the ball thrown to him. Before that, he literally was finishing the game with one target or half a target. He wasn't getting shit.
He said half a target.
But he looked over there and was like, no.
Okay, but also you can't. But Rager's been balling out in the 2 games that he played. Like he's been doing what he's supposed to be.
What does balling out mean to you?
The man had a 55-yard catch, his first NFL catch. And then last week he had 4 catches for like 49, 50 yards, something like that.
It's not balling out.
He's not dropping. That's just compared to the way
Justin Jefferson had 7 receptions for 175 yards today.
Well, 71 of them came on one play.
Okay, and the other 100.
But listen to this also. For us, we have receiver problems where people could not catch the ball. Rager's catching the ball. He's not dropping the ball. But where he at? He on the fucking bench because he's injury prone. The same thing he was when he was in college. Well, I don't even know how you get a thumb injury like that. Like, apparently it happened. Apparently Carson be throwing some hard balls because apparently it happened on the last pass that he caught from Carson.
Speaking of injuries, was Jimmy G basically just Brandon Roy at this point? Is he headed in that direction? Is that his arc right now?
Brandon Roy, he make it to the finals, did he?
No, the Trailblazers never.
Yeah.
I'm just saying from an injury standpoint, like I feel like Jimmy G is gonna be that dude. Like, he could have been okay, but
Jimmy G to me right now is Ryan Tannehill.
No.
Kind of.
No.
He gets paid and then he gets hurt.
Yeah, I mean, he's not wrong.
And then when he's on a contract year, he's playing, and then he gets paid, and then he gets hurt.
No, he got his contract before they went.
I'm saying he bowled them 4 games in New England before he got traded.
But listen to this. Jimmy G, whenever you put him into a situation where you have the talent around him, most of the time he doesn't lose you the game. Ryan Tannehill only started doing that once he went to Tennessee. But when he was in Miami, he
was playing all right in Miami.
No.
He had some inconsistency.
He had one good season in Miami. But most of those games, when the Dolphins were losing, Ryan Tannehill was playing bad.
He played in his contract year, and then other than that, he get hurt.
Jimmy G's in a perfect situation where he's got the running game, he's got defense. They're just like, look, go out there, complete 11, 12 passes.
So what did Tannehill have when he was in Miami? Like
He had wide receivers. Who? He had Devontae Parker. He had Kenny Stills. Like they made investments into the wide receivers.
All right, they not those kind of guys don't elevate your quarterback.
So this what I'm about to
elevates
your
those
quarterback's
kind of
supposed to elevate people, and he wasn't elevating anyone. Ryan Fitzpatrick has less weapons than Ryan Tannehill did,
and they ain't had no run game.
And he's got wide receivers looking like wide receivers at least.
They've got good receivers.
They got the same receivers or worse.
In Miami.
Oh. No, I mean, they still got
Devontae Parker and Preston Williams.
Tannehill had Parker.
Huh?
Tannehill had Parker. Tannehill had Grant.
He had Stills too.
Yes. And Fitzpatrick is making them look like different guys when they both had the same.
I mean, Fitzpatrick is just hot in September. Like, this is just what happens every year with him. It happened in Tampa too.
Pretty much.
You remember with the gold chain with Deshaun Watson with the track?
But don't forget that last year at the end of the season when they won 2 games and when they beat the Patriots in the last game of the season.
What it is, he's in that Changaley system, the system he was succeeding in when he was with the Jets.
Stacy, you gonna join the podcast?
Uh-oh. Special guest.
She wanted to.
Special guest.
Hilarious.
Show me what that bark do.
Wow.
Show me what that bark do.
Right.
Wow. I'm gonna put that on a t-shirt.
All right. Somebody need him, please.
But nah, like I want to put on my crazy tinfoil hat real quick. And what I kind of want to review is that Kyle Shanahan is cursed.
Cursed?
Yeah, so that's why the first couple of seasons we got injuries, and then they finally got it together. They got all these number 1 draft picks on the line. They go to the Super Bowl. What happens? They blew the lead, just like Falcons did a couple years back. And the reason all of this keeps happening is Kyle Shanahan is not going to win a Super Bowl.
I guess. I mean, we'll see.
That he's cursed, and that's why you see these super, super inconvenient injuries. It's like you got Jimmy Garoppolo and George Kittle out. That team is basically what that team was in 2017 now. Yeah. Like they won 2 games, but we're looking at such a small sample size of 3 games that we don't really know what any team is right now. Defenses are getting the floor wiped with them right now. Offenses are having a field day this month.
Baltimore defense is the best in the league, and it's been like,
So I can't. So
everybody's allowing hella yards and hella points right now.
We've been mentioning injuries, and I know week 2 was like the body bag week, and
what we really watching is preseason.
Yeah, correct. But I can't let all this go without saying, and I know it ain't never gonna happen, but all of this, right? That man Cap still can't get on somebody's field. Yikes. The Broncos went and got Blake Bortles out of his couch.
Yo, wait,
like, Blake come on.
Yeah, he's backing up Jeff Driscoll.
What?
With Drew Lock's injury.
Come on.
What?
Yeah.
Come on, son.
Blake Bortles.
If that ain't the biggest slap in the face, I done thought I didn't seen it all. Like, as far as, like, how many times this man been slapped in the face over these past few years, but come on, son.
Man giving that man more respect than these people.
How much more obvious does it get? So what is that? And it's crazy because every time something like this happens, it's just another question. It just makes me question the integrity of the people. Because now I look at John Elway like, okay, you sus. Like anything I thought about you that was positive before is now completely out.
Yeah, it's gone.
Gone. So
I ain't never fought with John Elway anyway because I'm a Falcons fan. So
yeah. So you done.
Right, we might need to be shopping for Colin low key, bro.
Like, yo, just
what's
it gonna take?
Whatever gives us a win.
Philly.
My point is like, what's it gonna take? Like, what owner is gonna have the bravery to say
it's
what
not
owner
happening?
Would it be? Like, because I feel like that'd be like crossing a picket line for them because obviously he's blacklisted. So there's no debate about that. I don't care what
Philly
nobody
did it
says.
with Mike. Philly can do it again with Colin.
They could. That would be. I mean, I'm like, you look at some of these backups.
Or it'd be Andy Reid.
You can't do that after you just spent the second round draft pick on Jalen Hurts, though.
That's true. Philly, y'all have a quarterback.
You like we have a guy already.
We don't have a guy.
Otherwise, that's Howie Roseman's job. Howie Roseman would lose his job if y'all signed Colin Kaepernick.
Colin be a solid third.
Maybe a solid third.
Sudfeld ain't there no more. Whatever his name is.
He'd have a job.
If Philly,
and then y'all got you got Josh McCown on the practice squad already. Who already knows the system.
That's he's mainly just there as a.
They got all the excuses in place already.
Like he just wants to be a coach. That man's making $12,000 a week. If we come to the point where we got to rely on Josh McCown to come in our season,
I mean, he stepped into the playoffs last year, so it's like
you saw what happened.
Boy, man.
When I see they signed Blake Bortles.
Oh man,
Blake Bortles
showed his age.
Blake Bortles, bro. Oh my God, Blake Bortles is fine for a backup.
Colin Kaepernick's not happening with the NFL anymore. That's
really,
it's just fascinating.
Both sides just need to come out. Both the NFL and Colin need to come out and say, "Look, we don't want Colin in the league because of what he brings." And Colin just needs to come out and say,
"They'll never say that."
They say that?
No, because they would be acknowledging that racism. You understand how Colin Kaepernick played quarterback in the NFL?
We all know it's not going to happen. But what I'm saying is,
but they won't.
To happen.
Oh yeah.
Because
let me just say this.
Hang on, we have the same conversation all the time. We keep saying the NFL is blackballing Colin Kaepernick, yada yada yada. We all know this, but the thing is, and we're just beating a dead horse right now. One thing Colin himself needs to do, he just needs to come out and say, because he hasn't actually said this yet. He needs to come out and say, does he even want to play football?
I feel like he has said that.
Because now it was kind of suspect. Also, when
he's already said that.
And hang on, when the tryouts were happening, and he switched to a whole different location.
That whole thing was suspect.
The whole situation was suspect on both Colin's side and the NFL side.
That shit came out of nowhere.
It came out of nowhere for both sides. Like let's be real here. It was mishandled by both sides.
It was mishandled by both sides. But before you continue, yes, it was mishandled by both sides. But the NFL just dropped that in his lap. Hey, in a couple days you could be here and do this. Like, wait, what? I wasn't even thinking about doing that.
Yeah.
The other thing about it is for Colin, he has to realize that we as fans, we're doing more fighting for him to join the league than as what we're seeing. Now, I don't know what he's doing behind the scenes, obviously, but just on the surface,
right,
we're doing more fighting for him to come into the league than he is, because his focus, right, really, man, my words are wrong. His focus right now might really be more on activism.
I mean, it might be, but
his focus might not really be playing football. And here's the other thing: what happens if he comes into the league and he ain't playing like the way? What's up, Stacy? And he comes into the league and he ain't playing like we all think or we all want him to play.
But he's
not as good as Jeff Driscoll?
Exactly. Come on, you can't tell. And first of all, any team that brings him in is not bringing him in to be their starter. He's gonna come in and back somebody up. So you're not gonna know.
I don't think, and he's already stated he doesn't want that. No, that's the problem right there. The problem is he wants to be somebody's starter.
Where did he say that he wouldn't be a backup?
When teams were offering him contracts, I think it was the Ravens and the Seahawks. Both of them reached out to him.
That was last year, though, I think.
But, obviously,
the beginning of last year.
That's all I can go off of because we don't have any news for this year.
True.
When teams were contacting him about playing and things like that, his thing was he wanted to. I think, and let me actually say it like this: I think he said he wanted to compete for the starting role. Not necessarily be handed it, but he at least wanted to be in a situation where he can compete for it.
Right.
And
I don't see why that would defer teams from signing them though.
Well, no, but look at those two teams. They had Lamar and they had Russell. Like he's not competing for a starting spot on those two teams.
But
it's basically what I'm saying. So,
but again, just like last year, we've now rolled into a situation where there are more than a handful of teams with either a hurt quarterback or a crappy playing quarterback getting benched.
They can go into the situation if they say like, because here's the Broncos situation. They tell Cap, and don't get it twisted. Like I'm all for Cap being in the NFL. I'm just kind of playing devil's advocate here.
I understand what you're saying.
But here's what the Broncos would have to say to Cap. They have to be like, look, hey, we're signing you. We want you to come in, learn the offense, and play in these games. But Drew Lock is our future. He's younger. He's cheaper.
Yeah, I mean,
so they have to, everyone needs to put all their cards on the table. Put them out there on Jump Street.
Right.
Let me think of another team. If he were to go to, I think Washington would actually be a decent situation because it's a new head coach. He didn't draft Haskins.
Miami.
Haskins isn't really playing all that. Well, Miami's got Tua, and he hasn't played yet.
You're forgetting that Alex Smith plays for Washington as well.
That's true, but I don't know
they're mentoring. What they're hoping is that he can mentor Dwayne Haskins into.
But I'm just talking about playing wise. I don't know. We don't know. I mean, we haven't seen Alex Smith play yet. Like he's active, but we don't know how he actually.
He's there now because of his contract and because
the Jets would be a good situation. But the only thing is, they're probably going to fire Adam Gase. If they fire Adam Gase, they're either going to give Donald one more year or just get rid of him. So then they're going to be looking for another quarterback.
Man look like he got more pick sixes than touchdowns this year.
Yeah, and just this game alone today.
Yikes!
Now the Bears, if the Bears didn't have Nick Foles, that would have been a good spot.
Yeah.
For Cap because he's got the defense, he's got a decent, okay running game.
I just think there's spots.
I think Cohen tore his ACL today. And he's got a decent receiving core with Robinson and Graham and Miller. Yeah. So there's some teams out there where he has a chance.
There is,
but those teams obviously aren't reaching out. And we're kind of falling on deaf ears at a point because if it didn't happen within these last couple of years, the longer it goes and the older he is,
we know that this ain't gonna happen. But it's just still interesting to talk about. Like, but we've come this far, we know it's not going to happen, but conversation I feel like shouldn't just die, right? It's still a thing. Like every trash quarterback sitting on his couch that gets a call to come back somebody up who got hurt. The backup has to start, and now you are the new backup. Again, I'll still continue to have the conversation, especially, my team being the original drafter of Blake Bortles and figuring out real quick that he was trash and barely worth being a backup, which we quickly found out when he went to the Rams, and they ended up cutting him, from being their backup. Okay, so he wasn't even good enough to back up their starter. And he was sitting at home and got a call to be the backup for the backup in Denver. So I'm still gonna have the conversation because it's still absurd. So
it is.
Is it going to change the fact that we know he's not going to get signed? No, but I'm still gonna have the conversation anyway because it's still absurd. Because I don't. It's been a few years, whatever the case may be. I refuse to believe that right now you're gonna tell me Blake Bortles is better than Colin Kaepernick.
No one's gonna tell you that.
How about projections of Joe Burrow? Does Cincinnati become a playoff team within the next
couple
2 years?
I like Joe Burrow a lot.
The next 2 years, yes. Because
I think Joe Burrow is with the right coach right now.
Yeah, the Steelers will lose Big Ben,
and
the Ravens are still going to be at the top of the division, and the Browns, we don't know what's really going to.
And they got young guys. I mean, they got them. Mixon.
Still got John Ross tucked back there, waiting to do some shit. Hopefully, one day.
I mean, Boyd is.
Higgins is playing.
Higgins balled out today.
I really like Higgins.
Boyd is.
I like Higgins more as a pro than I did in college.
They got to work on that defense, though.
That's why.
I mean,
yeah.
If AJ Green stays on the field, that's another thing too.
Well,
he's not
AJ Green gonna stay on the field now because he liked Joe Burrow.
Right.
That's one.
So,
And they got to build the offensive line before they put Joe Burrow in a David Carr type situation where he's just taking 81 some odd sacks in the season.
Before today, Joe Burrow led the league in pass attempts.
I mean, he had like 50 of them.
But I mean, that's not. Yeah. But that's not that surprising because they're coming really back in every single game.
Taylor's letting them just let it rip out there.
But typically they were behind. They got to try and win.
Design the offense around the run, and they try not to make them have to throw it more than 20 times a game. They're like, we watched you play the national championship, bro.
But everyone said that was a mistake against the Browns. Like he should not have attempted 60 some odd passes against the Browns. Like they have a great running back. We all knew that this was going to be
a rough season for Joe Burrow. So I
they have a great running back in Joe Mixon.
Get out there, get comfortable with his receivers, and let him get out there and do what he do, and we'll see how the season goes.
Right.
It'll be that much easier for him if they just get the ball to Joe.
Yes.
Mixon.
I'm just like, if you're going to call somebody a franchise quarterback, you just trust them. Just trust them.
When you have him dropping back 60 some odd times a game, you're putting him in.
You don't want him to drop back that many times.
I mean, you don't want any quarterback to drop back that many times.
Yes, just give it a little bit.
You're losing the game if you're throwing it more than 50 times.
Correct.
Yeah. You're losing the game if you're throwing 50 times, unless it's a shootout.
Since we have been talking all this sports stuff.
Carson Wentz is trash.
Yep. What's your favorite sports movie?
Sports movie. Ooh.
We were talking about some movies before.
Coach Carter, hands down.
Coach Carter, interesting.
Yep.
Hands down.
Down.
And I got a follow up. I got a follow up to it after everybody gives an answer.
I probably have the best favorite sports movie. Talladega Nights.
Oh Lord.
I mean that counts.
Hey.
It doesn't not. I mean.
Don't put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby.
It counts.
I'll give you. It's the funniest sports movie.
Yeah,
definitely.
Mine is Major League. I know we had talked about.
Major League's a classic, but it's not. I don't know if it's funnier
as a series. No, because by the time the second one was still, it was okay. I mean, I like the second one, but
I like the second one better than the first one.
I like the second one out of all of them.
Yeah. Then after that, it was like, what are y'all still making?
Yeah, I ain't remember it.
But 1 and 2, man, joins is lit. Now, I will say this. The follow-up I have is, what do you think is the best sports movie? Because there's two different questions altogether.
All right, so let me make
not your favorite, the best one, because that's two different things. My favorite rapper is Fab, but that doesn't mean he's the best rapper.
But I'm gonna tell you why
he's up there,
because I think this is definitely very subjective. But I'm gonna tell you why Coach Carter has a case for being the best.
It does.
Also let me ask you this question: does this need to be? Or I'm gonna give you two different movies because Coach Carter is based, off of a true story, and then you've got some sports movies that are not based off of true stories; they're just sports movies.
Sure.
So with Coach Carter being based off of a true story, obviously the storyline was kind of known in a sense. But I love sports movies where at the end of the movie you've got the playoff championship game, whatever. And the team does not win.
Yeah, like Major League.
Like the reason I like that, and it's not because I like seeing people lose. Like that is definitely not it. But what I like about it is that it's unpredictable.
Mm-hmm.
Because you completely go and you're like, oh, okay, this dude's definitely about to hit this buzzer shot, or this dude's gonna, make this touchdown. This dude's gonna hit this home run, whatever. And then something happened. What was that? Even though this is a completely ironic movie, but like Mr. 3000. Like he ended up not hitting the 3,000 shot. He stayed at 2,000, 999 and stuff like that.
Yeah, that was interesting.
So like that kind of stuff, it's unpredictable.
That Bernie Mac, right?
Yeah, that was Bernie Mac.
So for me, as far as unpredictability goes, I can't give an award to them just based off of the fact that they choose not to let them win because there's only two options there: either they win or they lose.
Right.
So,
but and like I said, because it's based on a true story, did the team actually lose or win in real life? That's the one thing I don't know.
I'm pretty sure they lost.
Okay, so I mean, it was true to life.
But even so, like it's the extra unpredictability of it. For example, which I know this is a lot of people's cliche top. And remember the Titans, they did all that stuff. All that happened. Boom, they celebrate. Boom, Buddy got smacked by a truck. Now all is gone. all of it's gone. Like that's the unpredictability that I'm talking about that makes a movie the best movie. Because even losing that, you can still send a message to, even though he paralyzed, he's still good.
I'm gonna create a quick subcategory because I feel like there's been more than enough sports movies to break it down to subcategories. So I'm just gonna pick the majors, be it football, basketball, and baseball. One from each of those.
Okay, well then you heard my football one.
Angels in the outfield for baseball.
What? What?
The rookie for baseball.
I'm still gonna say Major League.
I just watched Angels in the outfield the other day. It was on.
Yeah, that's what I figured. I was like, let me just hear what he got to say about that.
Still gonna pick Major League.
It's that recency bias.
My best movie is Moneyball.
Ooh,
that's good too. That's.
I like the rookie.
That's good. Isn't that Kevin Costner?
Yeah, I cried watching that shit.
Yikes!
Damn.
You know what? I got one for football that it just popped into my mind. My instinct is always to say Any Given Sunday.
wait, I thought that was Dennis Quaid in the rookie.
That's a good. I always mix them two up anyway.
Yeah, I know they are
Where does
very.
Rudy fall on this list?
Yikes!
That's football.
It was Dennis Quaid.
I mean, it is football,
That's
but
football. I'm talking about football.
we just don't know. I mean, football. There's so many.
So many.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, it is Dennis
Rudy.
Quaid.
Remember the Titans? Any Given Sunday.
I'm sticking with Remember the Titans on that one.
My gut is always like
Rudy
Any
in
Given
a close
Sunday.
second.
Bro, you also got
But-
Friday Night Lights, the movie, not
Friday
the
Night
TV
Lights,
show.
Yes. Another one that I think gets forgotten mainly because of its recency is Draft Day. Draft Day was cold.
Oh shit!
That's a cold movie. Like,
You know what I also like, and y'all, and
You
I don't
also
know, I don't know
got,
if y'all gonna rock with me on this one. Is Little Giants.
yo,
I love Little Giants.
Little
I
Giants.
love that.
Little Giants is a classic. First of all.
That's an
You
honorable
know what I'm
mention.
saying?
That's
You
definitely
got Radio.
Like that movie, like you instantly smile thinking about that shit.
Little
So
Giants.
thinking about that, I kind of want to backtrack and say for baseball, it's gonna be The Sandlot.
Ooh,
Oh,
that's definitely nostalgia.
That's a
That's
classic.
That'll hit you
too.
right in the member berries.
Yeah.
The member berry.
You know what I mean?
See, basketball for me is harder. I know Dre. He's gonna say Coach Carter again. So
Off the rip, I don't see.
You gotta say
You
nothing.
can't name one basketball movie that can top Coach Carter. You might be able to name one that might be able to debate against, but it doesn't unanimously top it.
Blue
And I didn't hear what you
Chips.
said. What movie?
Blue
said?
Chips.
You
Blue
can
Chips.
debate that, but it's not unanimous. You can debate it, but it's definitely not unanimous.
My joint is Sunset Park.
I was gonna say that too.
And what's this?
Sunset Park.
No, what's the category?
Oh,
Basketball.
just basketball.
Basketball.
Oh. Sunset Park for real?
I mean,
Sunset
yeah.
Park.
Go ahead and throw Like Mike in there, Dash. I know you won't.
Nah. I was thinking about throwing Glory in there though.
What about Joanna Man?
Hoosiers could probably get up in there.
Space Jam?
Oh, that's,
You know what?
That's definitely nostalgia.
If you didn't play ball and then you watch Space Jam, you would just want to go get a basketball and go play basketball.
I feel like Space Jam. I feel like those movies have a different category. Like Space Jam, Sandlot, Little Giants. They're all like in the same vein, if you will.
Yeah.
It's almost like they're there. They have like an honorable mention category where it's like, don't forget this movie. Like, oh yeah, right. Like it's like partnered with the other one. Whatever your best one is, like that one too. It's here. Like
Thanks.
Hoosiers is so old though. I don't even remember that movie, but I know people revere that movie.
Do people really have there really even been that many soccer movies?
They're there.
What about Bend It Like
Bend It
Beckham?
Like
I knew someone was going to say that.
Bend It Like Beckham.
I didn't
You
even
got Kicking and
mention it,
Screaming with Will
obviously.
Ferrell. Like,
Yo, the best. Everybody should know that the best soccer movie is Shaolin Soccer, though. So.
And you got golf. I mean, golf's got a few. I mean,
Woo!
the first one you
greatest
think
game ever
like
played.
Tin Cup, Legend of Bagger Vance.
Happy Gilmore.
I'm about to say Happy Gilmore.
Happy Gilmore is actually that.
For hockey, you've got Miracle, the Mighty Ducks.
Mighty Ducks.
Ooh, Mighty Ducks.
And again, does that fall into
That category? Yeah.
Mighty Ducks has more of a chance of being an outright in that category. Though.
Okay, so let me ask you this question. and this can be a two-parter kind of. But is Mighty Ducks one of the best trilogies of all time?
In general, not just sports.
In the sense of no. Listen, hang on. In the sense of that, all three movies don't like lose luster. Like you're like, oh my gosh, they just made another one. And is it one of the better sports series of all time? So, like, you can break it down to all movies of all time.
Okay.
And then just sports.
Let me grab it quick. Pause. Sports.
He saw me ready to go.
I don't think there's that many series of sports movies that have it. Like Major League has a few, but again, after the first two, they were.
Well, you're about to have Space Jam 2.
Yeah.
With Space Jam.
Still.
They did make, and I know this doesn't necessarily count as one of the best movies, but they did make a second, Angels in the Outfield.
Trash.
With the first one. The second one was trash.
So those don't even like.
They made a second Sandlot.
Trash.
Also. I thought they made 3 Sandlots, actually.
Did they make 3?
I could have sworn they did.
Oh my God,
ain't nothing worth seeing past the original.
Yeah. Right. They're in other than Major League, honestly, and really, like I said, Mighty Ducks 2 was good. Major League 2 was
technically
good.
Friday Night Lights went from a movie to a TV show.
Yeah, it doesn't count though.
I'll say this about Mighty Ducks. They all blend in for me. Like if you tell me about a part, I couldn't tell you which
Me
movie
neither. I don't remember them, if we're being honest. But
you don't remember the Flying V?
Yes.
I mean, that. I thought that was the whole series, basically.
They do that every movie.
Don't they use it at the end of every?
The only thing you waiting on for them to hit that Flying V.
You're just waiting on whole.
That was the ultimate move.
Yeah, it's like always. It's funny because we think about those movies that are in that same vein. They'll have that, like Little Giants, the annexation of Puerto Rico.
That's the play right there.
And it's 2020, and Puerto Rico still ain't a state.
Oh my God.
Thanks.
It's a territory.
Oh no.
Man's not hot.
Sports movies are good. Sports movies are great.
Oh man.
Here's a question. Here's a random question. I wish we had more. Well, I shouldn't say more because it'd really be just Jordan for as far as parents go up in here. How you feel about Halloween?
What about
How does that change now this year?
I mean,
it ain't happening.
Me being a parent of kids that are trick-or-treating age.
Yes.
We wasn't doing it anyway because times are just different from when we was kids, man.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't know who's out there doing what. And it's just like, at the end of the day, I'm like, why am I bringing my kids around to go beg strangers for candy?
Well, you don't beg for candy.
I mean, that's basically what you do is you dressing up so you can go to people's houses and beg for candy.
The world carried a level of innocence that it doesn't carry anymore.
Correct.
But I mean, like, was it ever really there? Because it's
it was a false sense of innocence. Absolutely. It was completely false sense of innocence, but that innocence still existed for that to be still a thing where you weren't worried about it, all the darkness operating in the background all the time.
Right.
Because now we see it all the time, so we know it's out there. We're hyper aware of it.
It's like we've all at one point or another have witnessed like some sort of pedo on the internet.
Well, yeah, of course.
Like you like yo, this not like we've been around or whatever, or you know what I'm saying, been in front of or whatever, but like you know certain types. I'm not trying to incriminate people. I'm just saying certain types.
You've seen some suspect things.
Who you may have known from the past. They participate in certain activities, and so it's just like when you know that as an adult and you got little kids, you're like, I'm not bringing my kids around people like that. Like,
true. I mean, but you're not really bringing them around them. But I understand.
Yeah, and also if you're with your kids, most of the time you're trick or treating or like walking around with them.
Correct. And
now they got
you go to good
now
neighborhoods.
They got these whole things they call trunk or treats, and you go to a church or you go to some sort of shopping center or something, and there's other parents there with their trunks that are open and they got candy.
That's become a thing. I've been to a few of those.
It becomes more of a community thing that way.
Yeah,
they're dope. I've been to a few of those. They're very fun. I asked because having kids, like I said, that age that are interested in that, it's like I just still don't have an answer for what but I'm just like and also for me, literally, that's my favorite time of year. Like, I don't really, Christmas is whatever for me. Thanksgiving is a sham.
Christmas is the most
like,
wonderful time of the year.
Yeah, whatever. I don't, like, for me, Halloween is the cream of the crop for, I mean, it ain't a quote unquote holiday, but as far as like a time where it's festive, yeah, Halloween is king for me.
You be decorating, like you put like cobwebs and shit at the crib.
I do all of that. I scare people that come to the crib. Absolutely.
You put like a black cat outside the crib and stuff.
I do weird things like being at my sister's last year for it. Like people come to the house, I flicker the porch lights, like leave the door open, and then like people are so confused they don't know what to do. Like, do they ring the bell? Do they not ring the bell? They don't see me stand on the other side of the side door and just like flicker the lights. Like, I'm confused. Like it's.
They're like, what the fuck is this nigga doing?
He always been this way, dog.
Imagine, bro, you go to this dude's house and you just see him, like the shadow of him in the doorway, like he reflects it, and he's like,
yo, the stuff, yo.
You like, what the fuck is this thing?
The house in Washington, you'd be able to walk up the driveway and hook the corner and walk up probably about 15 feet to the doorbell. So the truck will be parked. It'll be back there. The truck will be close to the garage. He would let people walk by, get their candy, come back right by the car, and this motherfucker would pop out the trunk, dog. He wouldn't close it. He'd leave it like partially closed. He'd be in the trunk scaring these little kids, bro.
Bro, that same instance.
He sounds like that person that once November 1st hit, he's already planning for Halloween of the next year.
That I put my stuff in storage to start getting the cheap stuff on the cheap. Like that same instance that he's describing, that same night was like there was one, like what I also did was like I would wait for people to pass the car, they go to the door, and then I get out the trunk. And then what I would do is I would have the trunk open and I pretend like I was just, because I had on all black and I had on a mask. And then you wouldn't be able to tell whether it was actually a person or just like a body dummy. So people would pass by the trunk and like look for like a good 30 seconds to see if I was going to move. And they were like, oh, that's just a like dummy or whatever. And then they would walk to the door and then I would get out the trunk and walk up behind them and just stand there and wait for them to turn around. And then one girl, like she turned around, saw me and sprinted across the lawn like in a Scooby-Doo cartoon. Like
Let's see. I don't care for Halloween at all. Like
I'm the complete opposite. I am like Halloween for me is like a Chevy Chase and Christmas Vacation. Like that's me for Halloween. Like
oh snap. I'm like that about Thanksgiving. And the reason I am like that about Thanksgiving is partially tied into some personal things that have happened in the past, but mostly because we kind of use Thanksgiving in my crib. It's like a tradition for us now. We kind of use it as like, basically Thanksgiving is like our new year. We kind of reset things. We take time to kind of sit and be quiet and talk about, what the year's been like so far and, what we want to plan to do for the next year. So we kind of use it like that. So, you know what I'm saying? The wife throws down real quick. She puts together a nice little ensemble. I'll probably share some pics this year. And
do that.
You know what I'm saying? We sit down, we get super full, we watch football, you know what I'm saying? And then, we sit down, we talk. And I look forward to that like no other holiday throughout the year, because to me, that's my reminder of what my goal is and what I'm doing in my life and, where I'm headed to. So
that's what's up.
It's nice to be able to kind of sit and like talk about future plans and, how to make life better and how to move forward and all of that. So that's kind of my thing.
You can absolutely not miss out on Christmas.
I mean, it's there.
Decorating for Christmas is dope.
If you have kids.
Granted, it hasn't always happened to me because of where we've lived.
It is.
But if you get a Christmas where
it's a chore, actually.
Also, like...
And taking it down.
You have to decorate all this kind of stuff for Halloween, and that's for a day.
Halloween
Christmas decorations they can stay because here's what we do.
Halloween decorations.
We decorate for winter and Christmas. So once Christmas is done, only a few of the decorations have to come down.
Yeah, until like the end of January, of course.
Like they can stay up, through here in Kentucky, shoot, it'd be winter till April. So we be keeping them up for
Christmas
a while.
doesn't hit the same way especially if you somebody that don't have kids.
I don't have kids.
You don't. Which is like which is why it's funnier.
But no, like I am like a little kid for Christmas. Like I'm the one for the family. Like I'm the one that plays Santa every year.
What?
So like for us, the person
What's happening?
For us, the person that plays Santa is the person that passes out the gifts and
what?
All that kind of stuff. So that's my job every year. Like
I used to do that in my family when I was younger.
On this week's episode of Sports Game Anonymous, we find out random things about people we didn't know before. Keep going, continue.
Christmas Eve, like I don't go to sleep. Like I am excited for Christmas every year.
You be biting the cookies and taking a sip of the milk.
No, so that's the thing. That's the funny thing. So like we always ask our dad, like, hey, like what does, and obviously y'all can't see me do quotations, but we're like, what does Santa want? And my dad be legit. He'd be like, I think this year Santa wants like some brandy and like some, some chocolate turtle cookies, whatever. But he'll always pick like some cookie flavor that is super hard to find. So like then my brother and I, if we can't find it, we're like, man, we'll just get him these Pop-Tarts right here and he'll just have to be all right with this. And then sometimes like if he don't like it, he'll leave us a note and be like, all right, since y'all decided to want to.
Your dad is Godfather Santa and you the elf.
Bruh, we love Christmas in our household.
Is this something that you're doing like now?
Yes. Like
I gotta say,
like even when I was in college, and like obviously I knew when I was coming home, like I would plan for stuff. I'd be like, hey, I'll be home such and such date. And then every Christmas Eve, like I basically starve myself because my dad makes gumbo every single Christmas Eve. So that's the only thing I eat on Christmas Eve is seafood gumbo.
Let me say this, and I'm fascinated by that, but it also makes me realize that how we are around these days is how like is passed down. So the reason you feel that way is because your parents, your dad went hard for that. Like when C's kids get older, they go hard for Thanksgiving or the case may be, because that's what they'll remember.
What going hard for C Thanksgiving?
Like for me, like in our house, Thanksgiving and Christmas were just cliche. Thanksgiving, everybody came over to the house. We just ate. We just did whatever.
That was
right.
It.
Christmas was just, okay, here's some gifts, whatever the case may be. But Halloween, my mom's, these things that I've had, spoiler alert, they're not original ideas. I remember one year, my mom in the house in Freeport. Now, everybody knows how that house was set up, except for Dre. But everybody currently in this conversation remembers that house. So
19 Jarrow.
So when you open the door, we had a screen door and we had a front door. And when you open the door, you immediately see the steps that go up to the kitchen right there. If you go to the right, the den, you go into the den. So she had the screen door closed, obviously. She had the front door open, and she sat in a director's chair in the foyer right there with makeup that she created from like oatmeal and random things that she made and plastered all over her face with an old dirty dirty like witch hair, like that was crazy looking, and sat in a director's chair and didn't move. When people would come to the door and see her sitting there and ring the bell, because they just assumed like that was just a dummy, and she would just sit there. And like they were like looking in like mad confused, and then she would just get up and scare the shit out of people.
Absolutely.
This is shit that my mom did. So like those are the things that you take, and it's like that shit sticks with you. She always made like, so you can tell you, my costumes were always homemade, bro. Like my shit didn't come from the store. Like my mom, cause she was a seamstress, she sold like my costumes. Like I had like, remember the Ninja Turtles costume I had? Everybody that had the plastic joint, I had a whole cloth costume with a big shell on the back. Like the whole stuffing so the head actually looked like a turtle head, not just a plastic mask.
Dang, that reminded me of Courtney, that picture of you and Chris when y'all were dressed up as
bro, you know how long we worked on that shit morning, bro?
So like
Like 4 hours.
It's crazy because those are the things that she did, and that stuck with me. It was just like, yo, that's why I go hard and appreciate Halloween the way I do, because those are the things that stick with you. Everything else was just cliche. But Halloween was a standout. Like, it was like, oh, I couldn't wait for Halloween. Like, every year because every year can be something different. That's why Halloween is so unique. Like Christmas, Christmas and Thanksgiving, you know what you're getting. Like that, there's no flipping the script on Christmas and Halloween. It's just going to be, on those holidays, it's just going to be what it's going to be. Halloween could always be like something different. Like, oh, you wear a different costume than you wore last year. The kids wear different costumes. You can do something different than you did last year. Like the setup can be different. The decorations can be different. Like, it's very unique. And again, cliche, it's not necessarily a holiday, but it's just a festive time of year. That's very different.
I agree with your initial point that the holidays that, our parents, ancestors, that they went hard for and that they passed down, those are typically the ones that we go hard for as well. Because the same things that you say about Halloween, we didn't go hard for Halloween.
Right.
And it wasn't like a religious thing or anything like that. It was just like my parents, they asked us, they're like, hey, do y'all want to go trick-or-treating this year? And like I stopped at a young age. I think I was maybe in second grade or third grade the last year that I went trick-or-treating.
Second grade.
And I was like, man, I'm
stopped till like middle school.
I was like, I'm kind of
still trick-or-treating.
Thanksgiving for us. Thanksgiving is lit for us if the whole family is together.
Yeah.
But with us being military and moving around, everyone living in different places, like those years where like it was just my family, we just cooked. Like we just had a meal and that was it. But Christmas, whether we were with the entire family or whether it's just us, like we always went hard for Christmas, because like for me, like you say, it's kind of cliche, but like for me, like Christmases are memorable because I can be like, oh, I remember the Christmas I got this and I was doing this and that. Yeah. I remember this setup.
The only Christmas I remember, bro, is the one where I got Super Tecmo Bowl on NES. That's the only Christmas.
Oh no, like I have multiple Christmases that like are ingrained in my head because like I remember the setup for it, what gift I got, what immediately I did for the gift when I got older and like I was getting my own money, like my own adventures with trying to get secure gifts for other people. Like every year it's always an adventure with me and my mom trying to get my dad a gift because like she always wants to do something big, and like whatever big it is always something techie, and Christmas, I'm the tech one, not her. So it's always,
I will say for Christmas in these later years has gotten better because now I have my own kids, and now that my sister has settled in one place and has become like the center point for everybody to gather, that's kind of like, and everybody pretty much does that makes it more special than it has been. Because
they didn't start getting special until like the last few since the house got bought.
Correct. And so it's like, okay, everybody, so it's like we're going here. So all the siblings gather, you know what I'm saying? So everybody's
all the cousins,
kids,
all the everything.
Yeah. So it's become more than it was. I mean, shit, dude. I remember Christmases. I was just chilling solo dolo at the apartment by myself.
I'm chilling in Louisiana. Like, what is happening, dog? Going to homie's place for Thanksgiving. Don't know nobody there.
Right. So
Friendsgivings.
Correct.
Unmemorable as hell.
Right. So that's
Friendsgiving sounds nice in theory, but when you actually execute a Friendsgiving, they don't never really turn out that well.
Yo, I've been holding my tongue for a while this week. I got smoked from Microsoft.
You got smoked.
That was a hard left.
Yeah. It's time I tried. But I got smoked from Microsoft. Or whoever. I don't care.
Is it with Halo?
No. We knew the Halo situation. Just as long as they fix
the console release?
That was a good first guess, though.
When they fix it, they'll be all right. Bring in the dude who worked on the first few games and fix it. Do whatever you got to do. I don't care if it comes out next year, holiday. That's fine. Because then they'll have something to put out that'll compete with God of War 2. Whatever. So, this pre-order thing. And not the whole thing in general.
Let me log off real quick. Hold on.
Because the pre-order, they handled it as best they could. Okay? So,
there was no best way to do this shit. Period.
Correct. There's no right way to do this. Well,
we laughed at Sony kind of,
but there's a wrong way. Sony's way.
There was a right way, but I'll speak on that in a minute. Yeah.
It wasn't Sony's way though, because
the right way in my head was
between
tickets. It'd be a ticket system.
There's a in-between.
Random draw.
Right. Microsoft was closer to right, but still off. But it wasn't bad overall. It's just if you were going to buy a console straight out or pre-order a console straight out, you could get one. Okay. I mean, yeah, you had to be on it at 11 a.m. Eastern time, but
and you had to not hit refresh on your phone.
Yeah, that's to be expected. You could get one if you wanted one at that time if you were getting it straight out. My problem and the smoke I got for whoever is Microsoft told us that the pre-orders for the Xbox All Access were going to be available at the same time that the pre-orders went live, on a straight out console, and they were not.
In my head, they were available in store.
Nope. No, they weren't available nowhere. Stores, online, none of that. Some of the Target didn't even have Target was just like, oh, the All Access program was listed. They'll like come back November 10th. Okay. They didn't make it like you. Best Buy didn't even have it up. The Microsoft site, once you refreshed it, it was there. And all it did was ping you to information about All Access. So my smoke is, and again, this is probably, one of Microsoft's rare fumbles in this, once all this information, things that they've been doing positively, this has been a rare misstep in my, for me personally, because I'm somebody that wants to get on All Access. Don't tell me that 100%, it was going to be available and you're going to lie because it wasn't. It just wasn't. I don't care whose fault it was, but Microsoft was very clear, especially on their Twitter page. They made a nice little tweet about what time you could get it. And yes, All Access will be available for pre-order. Lies. It was not available pre-order. So again, Microsoft has been rarely fumbling recently. This is one of those things. The pre-order overall went fine, but don't lie and tell me that All Access was going to be available for pre-order and it wasn't.
And that was partially my kind of confusion when I did see that it was going to be quote unquote available for pre-order.
Right. I was skeptical about that
was because you trying to secure those consoles at market value versus $35, at least in my head.
Right.
So to have it available for pre-order Xbox All Access, mad people are gonna be pre-ordering them for $35, bots, whatever, Xbox All Access. Like it just didn't seem like the right thing to do.
You're getting a console for that one subscription price, but how do you pre-order a subscription?
Right. So
that sounded sketchy to me from the jump. When they were like, pre-order for All Access is going to be available. I'm like, how?
What they could have done, they could have launched the subscription base. But what you were talking about, like with the ticket base, basically, all right, cool. We only got a limited number of consoles that we're going to sell, full price, whatever. And then we've got this amount that we're going to sell towards a subscription. Basically, you just put yourself in a queue. So that way everyone, because what's going to end up happening is on November 10th, everyone's going to be rushing to try and get this console, the All Access. But really what they should have done is, hey, if you want All Access, you sign up, do all this kind of stuff here. So right now, Microsoft could be running all the credit checks, all that kind of stuff that they have to do.
Exactly. That's what they should be doing.
So that way, so you're in the queue. Once all your credit check, all that stuff passes, we know you're good to pay for the system, the service every month and everything. On November 10th, your number, whatever you've got, and they just launched the consoles out that way. So that way you can still do the pre-order, so you still get your console on the day of. You don't start paying for it until November, whatever. But it just takes out the hassle of what's going to have to happen to be approved and all that kind of stuff.
But that's what they should have done. You're right. That's something they could have done that probably could have worked, but they didn't. So they just lied and told us it was going to be available straight up, and it wasn't. Because I don't see how it could have been in the format. Again, under your suggestion, it could have been done. but clearly they ain't do that.
The only people that ever had a queue system at all throughout this whole process was GameStop.
Yeah, they put people in a line queue when they went to the website.
Which works until that shit gets overloaded.
Right, until it broke. And GameStop is not an Amazon, so their website is not designed to handle that shit.
That you was gonna be sitting in that queue all day.
So
hang on. And Microsoft customer service trash.
I mean, you gotta give them a break though. You was
trying to call them to pre-order. You might as well send them a letter.
No. I wasn't calling in a pre-order. My thing was like I had already I had pre-ordered it, everything. I'm going through because I was buying the system outright. So I was going in, putting all my payment information. I went all the way to the final screen, and they give me the warning, the notice, whatever. Oh, there was an issue on our end. We apologize. Please call us at this number. Now, here's my thing. I completely understand that through pre-orders that I'm not going to call Microsoft to try and pre-order a system. That's just dumb, number one. But if you're going to give me your number to call you because you're telling me that there's an issue and it's on your end, now I have an issue when you don't pick up, or now I have an issue when I can't even get in contact with the number that you're telling me to get in contact with, whatever. Because we all know, in situations like this, refreshing the screen is the absolute worst thing you can do. Refreshing a screen is the difference between securing a system and losing a system.
Facts.
So I don't want to leave the screen. I don't want to do anything like that. I want to get this situation, handled. So if they had never given me that number, and I'm like, all right, cool. I didn't make it in time, whatever, and I would have moved on. It's the fact that you gave me a number and you said that the issue was on your side. And now I'm trying to reach out to you. Because if you're going to do that, that means to me that you have someone dedicated that, hey, when calls come into issues like this, they're coming to this group right here.
That shit was flooded.
Man,
so that's my issue. That's my issue with that.
I actually went ahead and I kept refreshing that damn page.
Well, no, see, so I was all the way at the payment
step in the process. I refresh till it's working, then move to the next step in the process, and I kept having to do that till I got to the final page where the order was confirmed, and I got me an order number and an email. But I was using 3 different sources, so I was on my Xbox trying to order from the Xbox store using the controller. I was on my phone on the Microsoft.com website, and then I had the wife on. She was on Target.com trying to order through Target.
Yeah, see, I was at work. I didn't have all those resources available at my job.
Not that I was getting a outright console. I wasn't gonna get none anyway because I was trying to get all access. So spoke my piece on that.
Have you decided on the X or the S?
S.
X.
You still sold on the S?
Yeah, I don't need an X because I'm again, and I've said it before, and I will absolutely keep screaming it from the mountaintop, is I don't have a 4K TV, and I'm not in the market for one. No time soon.
You don't have a 4K monitor either?
Nope. So
is there a reason for that?
So what happened when you get one for Christmas?
I mean, that's under the the random. See, you're not expecting that. You don't plan for a gift. So it's just you don't plan for something.
What if 4K TVs are $200 on Black Friday?
They could be, but I don't have an extra $200 to spend on it. So there's that. Shout out to Grubhub, by the way. Thank you for helping keep my rent paid. Appreciate you out there. Also, by the way, speaking of which, if you're ordering food and you live more than 5 miles from where you ordering food from, you need to be tipping. Not that I have an issue with people tipping, because actually I don't. But I'm just saying, if whoever listens to this podcast, you order food from any of these services, if you live a grip away from the place you ordering food from, you need to be tipping to compensate that.
Do people not tip their delivery driver regardless of their distance?
Most people do.
Yeah.
Most people do tip something, but there's a couple that are just
I think everybody should tip. And the reason I say that is because we're in a global pandemic. So regardless of how you may feel or what your personal policy on tipping is, you're asking somebody to expose themselves
Correct.
In order to deliver your food.
Okay, well, I'm not gonna go that route because I know people were not tipping before the pandemic.
Right.
Yeah.
So
but
I'm saying now,
I think there's a more inner thing with it where people feel like this is your job, whatever. I shouldn't have to tip you for it. But I feel like there are certain jobs where that service demand. I don't really want to say demand, but I can't think of a proper word. But there are certain jobs where that job, requires a tip. It's a tip-based service. It's a tip-based job.
Correct. Let me. And there's a few jobs that are like that. Obviously, I'll run down a couple of them before I get to my actual point about it. Is obviously talking about somebody that serves you food, waiter or waitress type thing. They're 100% making their job on tip. They're making their wages on tips. They make less than minimum wage per hour. Newsflash for everybody that doesn't know that. Waiters and waitresses get paid like $1 and change an hour. Okay,
$2.13.
So understand that those people rely on you to tip them to eat, literally. Okay, so don't get that twisted. You go to like places with they offer you services. You're talking about like getting a massage, or you get a haircut, or your hair done, stuff like that. Like
bellhops.
Yeah, you got to be right. So somebody to handle you got to be tipping stuff like that. You should just be doing that anyway. But where we start to get to like a middle area ground, going back to what you were talking about specifically, is and I can experience and I can talk about both sides of it. Is that driving for Lyft full time for almost a year? I could tell you that there's a stark and now having done Grubhub in a good area where I'm at for I don't know, it's been 2 months maybe. There's a stark difference between people that because people don't, it's not necessary, they don't see it that they need to tip a rideshare driver, whether it be Lyft or Uber, whatever the case may be. The percentage of people that tip doing those services is like, I don't know. If I had to put a random number on it, it wouldn't be high. Okay.
5-10% at best.
Yeah. You're talking about out of like 10 rides,
not every 20,
maybe like 1.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Maybe tip out of 10 rides. Versus on the flip side,
and wait, hang on. Is that no matter the distance?
No matter the distance, people don't care. The people that generally tip always on rideshare is people going to the airport. People that go to the airport,
like if you're going potentially 30 to 40 minutes on your ride, those people tipping. Airport rides are like a much higher percentage of tip ratio, maybe like 80 to 90% people taking an airport ride tip.
I used to ride share as well, and I remember typically my tips would just come from just really good conversations.
Yeah, that too. So that helps as well.
The ride for me, it was just if I just connected really well with the person, they were actually like interested in having a conversation with me, and
correct. That helps as well.
What I'm saying? You engage really well with the person, and then you get out the car, and it's like you get 5 minutes up the street, it's like cha-ching. You're like,
yeah,
okay,
correct, yeah. But what I've noticed is doing Grubhub specifically, and in the area I live in is an area where people got money. I've noticed the complete flip opposite, where out of like 20 deliveries, there may be one person that doesn't tip, or 2 out of like 20 that didn't tip. Like literally every ride, like literally my earnings are the tip earnings is like surpasses the earnings for the cost of the ride, for like time and distance. But it's
well, okay. So one thing because I just recently used Grubhub because I found out that I can. Yes, I always tip. Anything that's a tip based service, I always tip. But so one thing I found out when I was using them, it was because when you get to that screen, like a payment screen, all that kind of stuff, it's already applied. So you have to do the extra step to either increase the tip, lower the tip, or take the tip off.
Some people, and they just don't.
Yeah, so some people are just lazy. They're like, man, I don't feel like doing that.
Because when you see the tip and it's like 446 or 889, it's like, okay, they just didn't change whatever the percentages of their order. So people that do those big orders, like I did an order earlier today that was like, it was like, because when you accept it, you see how much you're going to get paid when you accept the order.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
okay.
I accepted one today. It was like $19, bro. It took me all of like 25 minutes to get it done between picking it up and dropping it off.
Love that shit, bro.
You can't beat that. And out of the 19, because it was a big order, or it was an expensive order, I should say, out of the 19, like 14 of it was a tip. So like, again, I live in a good area I deliver in a good region for tips. But again, I have noticed the difference between food delivery people that tip versus doing rideshare.
Care about their food, man. That's it.
Right?
Yeah.
Because
I use
people
Uber Eats. They don't even give you they don't give you an option not to tip. You got an option to tip.
Because people
it starts at 10% and then it goes in increments of 5, and then that's it.
Yeah, because that food delivery people treat it. I think in their brain they treat it very similar as if they went to a restaurant. They're gonna tip their waiter or waitress. Pretty much, most people do. So it's the same ratio.
Recording, so just
go ahead.
something happens.
Let me know.
Are you good? I mean, he's still recording, but I just wanted to start recording just in case.
No, I understand. I just want to make sure that we keeping this on record. Go ahead.
But yeah, we're good to go. Go and say what you're about to say.
Preview, that was about to happen.
Man, I'll tell you, that makes total sense that, if if you're in an area that's tipping well, to be able to do it. And I kind of want to take a turn from there. I guess I'm the host now all of a sudden. Yo. Boy,
hey, he just texted us in the group. He just said his computer decided to restart.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well,
The best host in business just lost his job.
Basically, I'm the hostess with the most.
Hey, that's like being a host of a show and they telling you mid of the show, like, hey, we didn't renew your contract.
It's the Wayne Brady
you
show.
To go. You come back from commercial break and it's a brand new person sitting at the booth.
Shoot, we'll change gears a little bit. I got a quick question. Can y'all remember the last time y'all purchased a magazine or a CD?
Does digital count?
No.
No.
A
magazine or a CD? Last CD I bought, I can tell you already, was the 2020 experience, JT.
I don't know.
The last CD I bought.
It's been a long time since I bought a CD. I think I bought a magazine more recently than a CD. I can't tell you exactly when. I just know I was in the airport because I used to always get like the Motor Trend or the DuPont Registry magazines, just anything dealing with cars.
Mm-hmm.
And just have something to look at on the plane. So it was at an airport, but I can't remember when. I just know it's been a couple of years.
2020 experience. That's probably like what, 5-6 years.
Yeah, as far as that come out 20. I really can't remember because I was actually a really early adopter.
That came out 2014.
Buying digital. And basically, I was one of those people. I started as soon as iTunes became moderately popular. I was making all my music purchases through there, and like you said, Dre, buying digital, like as far as magazines, I have a lot of
2013 was the JT experience.
2020 experience,
or the 2020 experience. My bad.
Yeah, I remember. Man, I really can't remember as far as music is concerned, but as far as a magazine is concerned, I probably can't remember that neither.
So I mean, and that's kind of just you going back to that. You thinking about remember when VHSs? You just started seeing VHS tapes going out the window.
Yeah, like what's the last VHS tape you
This is a new change in age right here. I wonder what's coming next, right? And here we are. We ain't even downloading shit off LimeWire no more.
We're not downloading nothing. Everything's on the cloud.
Everything is dead ass on the cloud.
Like we used to download movies and television shows, and now, you don't even download it anymore. It's on a service. You just pay for the service.
Man.
Hey, what if for the reason of that, they're like, look, all these people downloading all this stuff illegally anyway, or excuse me, they're downloading it from a third party. So they just basically said, let's just put it on the internet anyway and just let them
listen to whatever they want and make them pay monthly. Genius. I love it.
I kind of went into this because the subject I really wanted to talk about was this Apple bundle that Apple is doing.
Oh, Lord.
I wanted to know what y'all thought because y'all are more thorough. You're deeper Apple adopters, I can say, than I am. You know, I have a MacBook, I have an iPad, but I don't have the phone, and it's like,
but that's the thing for me.
Benefits of that bundle.
I'm one of the people that's everything, not Apple, but my phone. And now this Series 2 Apple Watch that I have, this old as hell, but like I don't have the Mac, I don't have the iPad, I don't have that full-blown connectivity. I just simply like it just for the social portion of it alone, and Apple Music, I guess. But as far as the bundle goes, I'm only interested in that bundle depending on what they end up doing with this third-party gaming thing or this first-party gaming Apple is trying to find
with
themselves.
Apple Arcade.
If that doesn't turn into anything, I have no reason to, and I'm gonna just continue to pay my Apple
for
Music
me,
and live my
like
life.
I've got.
I don't have Apple TV either.
I've got a Series 2 watch. I have an Apple TV. My MacBook is from 2013, 2012, 2013, one of those two. And I've got the iPhone X, iPhone 10, whichever one you prefer to say. Like I don't see the need in having an iPad since I've got the phone and a MacBook. The only reason I got the MacBook was because at that time, for the amount of storage space and power that you could get on the MacBook, you could get down the MacBook and it was easier to carry around, like in a backpack, things like that. Because most of the time, like if you have power like that in a Windows or an HP laptop, they were a lot bigger and a lot heavier. But now the Windows and HP laptops, they're a lot lighter, and they still, they've got their own power and all that kind of stuff. So you can't go wrong either way. The Apple TV. The main reason I got it was just because I have the phone connectivity, like I can go between my phone and the Apple TV if I'm watching something. A lot of the app-based services, the interface was a lot cleaner than Fire Stick and Roku and all that kind of stuff.
I agree.
So I'm like, that's the thing. If you have, and that's one of the things that suckered me into some of the Apple product, is that even though they are behind in certain things, and I don't necessarily want to say they're behind on purpose, they are behind on purpose. I think Apple is fine with letting Android and Windows and all those other services, all those other companies roll things out, let them figure out all the different bugs, all the different bad things that could potentially happen or the things that the customers don't like. And then boom, when Apple rolls out with it, it's kind of seamless. Because like with the widgets and stuff that you have on iOS 14, you don't necessarily have the same issues with them that, we had when we had Android phones and widgets were becoming the new thing and different stuff like that. So I'm a sucker for a smooth, easy, or I don't want to say easy, but a smooth, well planned out interface. If things look kind of jumbled up, messy, and all over the place, then I'm not using your service, your system, your product, whatever, no matter how good it is.
Apple about to come and backdoor this foldable phone here in probably about 3-4 years.
You said disposable?
No, the foldable.
The foldable. They're gonna wait a few years so the tech is less expensive.
They're gonna drop one.
The tech just costs too much right now, and these phones are coming out. They $1,200. Like I don't know who's buying a $1,200 cell phone.
How much is the Microsoft Duo now? I think
it's like $1,700 or $1,800 or something like that.
Really that much?
It's insane. No, I think they start at like 13 though.
You said the Duo?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's insane, but it's great.
I mean,
it's just ridiculously expensive.
$1,400. Yeah.
It's just like I'm not spending that much on a phone. Like I'm probably not spending that much on a computer, let alone a phone.
You can buy two like middle close-ish above average PCs.
You can get a pretty damn good gaming PC for that amount.
For half that.
Yep.
For $1,400, $1,700 after tax, and then your warranty, paying 2 bands. That's the top of the line PC.
You got a monster PC for 13, 14.
And you for sure ain't gonna use it like a PC.
Absolutely not. You're not.
You better be gaming and editing 4K video on that sucker.
Hey, if you're a student, you're in class, your teacher's like, all right, everyone pull out your laptops. We're gonna go to this. You pulling out your phone. You're like, look, you know how much money I spent on this? I've got to use this as my computer.
Yep.
I gotta use it.
That's the way I see it
right now. But nah, I'm really interested in it. I want to use it. Like, can I rent it? I just want to hold it. I just want to maybe use it.
Right, and then they took all those Microsoft stores away. It's like, why?
Hey, Microsoft, if you're listening to this podcast, just send us a couple of products. We'll send them back. We just want to use them.
Send them all to my address.
We just want to use them. We'll do some reviews and post them for you and send them back to you. But
yep.
Or not, send them back, and I'll just become your brand ambassador.
There you go. I think I like that even better.
I'm rocking Bethesda right now. You know what I'm saying?
There you go. You repping for the company already.
So please, I'm trying to put myself out there.
Look who got his job back.
Look. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and relinquish my my hosting duties back to Flash real quick, just to kind of catch you up. We're discussing the Apple bundle that came out, and we're discussing the cost of some of this new tech that's out and available, and the choices and the options that we have out there.
Like the Microsoft Duo, we just got up kind of on the back end of that. Really want to try it, but not for $1,400.
And that's the thing. Like with COVID, the iPhone 12 got pushed back, so we don't know how much that's gonna cost.
Probably about $1,500.
So it's going tech
they're
prices.
They're probably staying at $1,000 to $1,300 range, and it's gonna become harder and harder to justify that if your phone don't fold at a certain point. So Apple's probably gonna come with it at some point.
What are we talking about? Folding shit? My whole brain just lost all function.
But see, so here, man, with the folding phone, that kind of goes back to, and C and Ree, I don't know where you guys were at in your life when the SideKick was out. But when the SideKick was out, when I was in middle school, that was the phone that everybody wanted.
That or the Razor. Those
right.
Are the only two.
Because people be sitting. I remember people sitting in class just flipping the screen for no reason.
One hand, just sitting there.
I worked an internship at Daddy's House Recording Studios.
That sounds like a strip club.
Oh,
no, Daddy's House Recording Studios is Bad Boy Records studio in New York.
Very good.
And when I was interning there, I had a sidekick. My sidekick story is that I didn't know, because this is the early part of data phones being available on smartphones. Mm-hmm. And the sidekick had a data plan that came with T-Mobile. And I remember making a phone call shortly after no longer being employed with Daddy's House. And I had a lot of contacts and people that I know, and phone numbers to different places, including the phone number to Puff's Phantom. And I remember I called, and T-Mobile told me I could save some money if I removed my data plan. And so I went ahead and did. I saved about $15, $20 a month. And it was pretty nice for somebody who's 20 years old and just trying to, save a couple of bucks while they're not making that much money. And what I didn't know is that data plan was actually, one of the early editions of cloud saving. And basically what happened was, when your phone reset, the SideKick, this is the SideKick 2 actually, it basically removes all additional data, including clearing your caches and other things like that, removes the data from the phone on the reset. And then when the phone starts back up, and this is to increase the speed of the startup, it starts everything up and then reinstalls everything back on your phone before you're able to use it. And without that data plan, once that phone is deleted and everything's erased, then when you start the phone back up, you basically have a phone in factory mode.
Nice.
So you can imagine that from that point, I decided never to do business with T-Mobile again.
Yeah, because the SideKick was only available on T-Mobile, right?
Yes.
Correct.
And
it's funny because I've only ever had T-Mobile.
It was a very nice phone. And I will say that, and it was even nicer when they made an Android version of it.
And the SideKick LX, that was dope. The LX was clean. The little brown joint was fire.
And so I'll say this: as far as Apple is concerned, I've adopted. Like I said, I have a MacBook, I have an iPad, and I have an iPhone as a business phone, but it's not my personal phone. I don't use it for anything but the job or for whatever that gig, and we're not even gonna talk about that. But that's all I use it for. I don't use it for personal use.
Trap.
And saying this, my only gripe with Apple is what you mentioned earlier, Dash, and that was that, essentially they like to let the other companies kind of try things out and throw stuff against the wall and see what sticks. So I look at their reason for doing that as more of a
Dash
marketing.
credit for what I said? Wow.
I was gonna say that. I was gonna let it just. You saw
my bad, Drake Dubs. My bad, bro.
I guess all black people sound alike, huh?
I guess so. It's 2020, I'm not gonna get into that, but what I'm looking at it is, I see it more from a marketing perspective. And my issue with Apple is they're kind of letting companies take losses and fail in certain things, and then what's popular, Apple's like, okay, we'll just do that then. But I feel like that's good for business for Apple, but I feel like customers lose out when you miss out on things like a lot of the stuff that Google does, for example. And so,
But that's also the issue, is that those things don't get marketed to Apple users at all.
Correct.
Yeah.
Like, we don't see nothing about no Pixel. We don't see anything, or we not getting this information fed to us by any means. Like, Android people, like, they literally don't think that we would ever come to y'all. So that shit just don't be in our phones.
And here are two things that you also have to realize. Number one, Apple and hardcore Apple fans are like hardcore Sony fans.
Yes.
Right. Like, it does not matter what any other company does. Whatever Apple does, it's the best. It's better than anybody else. It's top of the line. It's whatever. So hardcore Apple fans, if you compare them to hardcore Sony fans, are the worst. Like, absolutely. Yeah, the other thing you also 100%. Have to look at is, outside of Apple, when Apple puts out a phone or any product, like, it's an Apple product. So if you're confused about something and another company, so like if you get an Android, you've got the Pixel out there, you've got Samsung phones out there, you've got LG phones out there. So there's so many different Android phones out there that people are like, well, which one do I get? What does this one give me? What does that one give me? So then they just end up being like, well, I know what Apple's going to give me, so I'm going to go to Apple. So you've got all these competing commercials of the same,
it's
processing operating system, basically.
And then that's why I always say, having an Android is like having a PC, because, there's 50 companies out there that make PCs. And
right. It requires some research. It requires some work, a little bit of know-how.
Right.
Apple's
you got to know how to read
easy choice.
Yeah, we've had that conversation, because people buy PCs and never fully use the PC for what they can be.
Like, if I know anybody that has an Android phone that hasn't not at least owned an emulator for a Game Boy at least once, I'm like, get an iPhone, because you're not using it.
You're not doing it right. Correct.
Right.
I got a whole grip of that stuff on my phone right now.
There's no reason you should have an Android phone anymore. Just get an iPhone.
I agree with y'all with saying that.
Shout out to Summertime Saga.
Don't get me started on that. Don't get me started. Don't put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby.
Download APK for that.
There's you made me lose my train of thought. Go on, man.
Man, look, it's again, that's the easy choice for a lot of people. Apple's always been the easier choice. Like, hey, come over. Apple's always appeals to the people that are like, hey, you can't mess this up. And they're like, oh, okay. Let me get that then. I don't need to do anything. Like, no. Yep. Put your information and just use it.
Like, you get an Android phone, you download something, and it download like it's a computer.
People don't know what to do with that.
Everybody already lost.
People don't know what to do with that. Like, oh, I can go to a website and it's like, hey, you have to allow third-party download. You got to allow that. In
like, what?
Like, oh, okay, cool. It'll take you there, but it throws people off. Like, what? Third party like downloads? I don't understand what that means. And then it downloads somewhere. I ain't gonna stunt. There's stuff that downloads to my phone. I don't know where it is anymore. It's just lost. It's lost. Like, literally, there are files on my phone that I'm sure I will never know where they are anymore, because there's too many folders and subfolders. I've dug through
too many paths for it to go.
There's a lot. There's a lot of paths where these things download to. And I'm like, and that's great. That's an option. It's fine, but it's not dummy proof. It's not dummy proof, and Apple is dummy proof.
Not even close.
Kind of like, hey,
download ROMs and
what
no.
No. Apple's not dummy proof. They make it easy.
I'm more than familiar. I miss it a lot.
Yeah, it's Apple locks you in, and just like it's like a lot of companies are doing now. Like Microsoft is trying.
Everybody wants you in that ecosystem, and then they want to try to just keep making money off of you being in the ecosystem. That's what Microsoft is focused on right now. Yes, let's create an ecosystem through the Xbox. It's our most powerful. It's our popular hardware.
Once you get people hooked into a community, you've got them hooked.
Correct. That's
like as long because you can sell anything within that community as long as it's tied to that service or that product or that namesake, and you've got them. Like that's the thing. Instead of tying people to a product, tie them to a community, and then boom, you can sell whatever.
Yep. Just get them services, and that's what Microsoft is doing.
Just watch, because I think Apple has talked about trying to have like one of those self-driving cars or something like that. Watch Apple come out with a car, and you got 500 or not, maybe not 500, but like 5-10 million people, driving around in Apple cars, not really knowing what's going on, but Apple just put it out, so boom, they got one.
Exactly. And meanwhile, they're gonna forget that they were like, oh, but Tesla did this already, and they're gonna be like, no, but it's Apple.
Yeah. Oh, that's actually a great comparison. Tesla's like the Android of
will be the Android of cars.
Like what?
No.
Like we did this 5 years ago. Apple's gonna be like, well, but still,
we're here now.
What are we talking about? You late to this party, and Apple customers are gonna be like, oh man, this is great. This new tech. Like, what do you mean new?
Tesla's gonna be like, we have a car floating in space.
That's the one thing about Apple that pisses me off, and the diehard fans that are like, oh, they treat those new features like they're brand new, and they're not. They're just new to Apple devices. That doesn't make them new tech.
You just gotta let them be excited, bro.
Man,
is there anything?
Even with iOS 14, I was excited. What? I said even with iOS 14, some little new things. I was like, oh, this is neat. About time it got here, but
yeah,
like the little triple tap or the double tap feature on the back of the phone and do certain shit.
Yep.
Fucking Android been having tap feedback, so I don't even remember. Like I feel like I had that shit on my Motorola Droid. Like that's how long ago I feel like they had that tap feature. And that was
correct.
That was like in 2009.
Yeah, it probably sounds about right. But we'll see.
Well, hang on. So with us talking about like Apple and Microsoft, is there any group of fans, hardcore fans, that aren't annoying? Because we just literally sat here and talk about how Sony hardcore fans are annoying, Apple hardcore fans are annoying. Like, is there any group of hardcore fans that aren't necessarily annoying?
There's always going to be groups within that particular community that are annoying, I think, more than others.
But I think more so on he's speaking to to where they're likable. So like, you got Cowboys fans. You got not that they're likable. No,
he's just right.
I'm speaking to more of the toxic ones that are just known, like not the ones that got like whatever.
Honestly, I want to say Nintendo, because they're just kind of like Nintendo fans are like,
because you're one of them.
I mean, yeah, I'm one of them, but I'm also a Microsoft. I mean, they're Nintendo fans. I wouldn't define them as being toxic. Nintendo fans are just, to me, they're just like, they know what they have and they know it's good, and they're mad that people don't respect the fact that they're good. I'm not gonna say Nintendo fans.
I'm gonna say Pokemon fans.
That are
rewind silent.
I'm gonna say this. I haven't personally encountered
that are a likable group of super fans.
Do you remember the Pokemon Go phase and how nuts that shit was?
But nobody was really beefing with them. That's what I'm saying. Like they was just letting them live.
Yeah, no one was beefing with them until they came on like private property and like stuff like that. Like just doing dumb stuff.
That wasn't their fault though. Right. That wasn't their fault.
You ain't never been annoyed until you had somebody walk on your grass looking for I'm sorry.
That also is not
was on the fucking property, nigga.
That's also not their fault though.
My bad.
Because the game was like, "Hey, go here to access this thing," and it's just like you go there, you're like, "All right, cool."
You're like, "Oh shoot, there's a gas leak here," and you in some old lady living room.
Yeah.
You're like, "What are you doing here?" You're like, "Hold on, let me throw this ball real quick."
Like you're not mad at them. Why are you in my house? But like,
or was your door unlocked?
You're playing Pokemon Go. My bad. I mean, like go about your business. But shit, let me catch it too right quick. There's another one.
I don't know. I just don't feel like overall those like Nintendo, like especially when you're talking about Sony and Nintendo and Sony and Microsoft, what the case may be. I just feel like Nintendo just kind of falls in the like their fans just kind of fall in the sides like we're just here. Like I never hear people just like okay,
they're just overall excited about the title, or they're just
because they know that their stuff is always fire. Like they don't get involved in those conversations. They're just like we're here, like because those games are always. I mean, those properties they always.
You said Nintendo fans always know their stuff is fire or Pokemon.
Yes. Nintendo in general, because you're talking about again.
That's some arrogant shit to say, bro.
Because it's true. We've discussed this before. Like Mario
Nintendo
Odyssey,
does what they do well.
Zelda Breath of the Wild.
But it's not like they just do gaming well in general. They just do what they do well.
They do gaming well in general. That's what they do. It's gaming, and they've been doing it well for 30 years, with very few missteps. Virtual Boy. That's really the and the Wii U. That's those are and the Wii U was just a project to make sure the Switch would acclimate properly. That's really all.
I mean that's your running theory, and I'm gonna accept that theory, but it is just a theory still.
But it was still, but the Wii U still was overall trash. I mean, it had very few games, and the few games that were great are getting ported over to the Switch now. So, the Wii U was a test. It was a test run for the Switch. That doesn't mean it excuses it for being trash, but it is what it is. And again, the Virtual Boy. Those are the two missteps in Nintendo's 30-year history. Like literally, that's what we're talking about. Like,
wait, you're saying they
basically just put out an improved version of the same console, and what they do best is they innovate what they do with the console,
and people buy it. Because this new
Switch. But essentially, they're giving you the same games.
Yes, this upgraded Switch coming out next year, people gonna buy it.
You're gonna get a Mario. You're gonna get a Zelda. You're gonna get a Link game. Sure. You're gonna get Metroid.
You're gonna get Mario Kart. Of course you are. But that's every. And that's every company. Yeah, because what do you get? Microsoft. What do we get? You're gonna get Halo. You're gonna get Forza. You're gonna get Gears.
Yeah, but I use my Xbox. Like gaming is like 30% of my Xbox usage.
Yeah, I get that. I understand that point of it. But if we're just talking about games, same thing with Sony. You know what you're getting. You're getting Last of Us. You're getting God of War. You're getting what's the other crap? I keep having to leave that off because Uncharted is done. We're not getting any more Uncharted games.
So my point still stands, even in comparison to Sony.
I guess if you want to say Gran Turismo, but not necessarily.
Not with Forza in existence. That's not a good thing to say.
And they lost MLB the Show.
They're trying. We got to see how Gran Turismo is going to be. We gonna see.
Right. I just think that overall, every company doing what they do, Nintendo's hits more. Overall, I mean, just like Sony puts out those exclusive properties, put out bangers. Nintendo does the same thing. There's just a few more of them. That's all.
I think hardcore PC people are more likable than Nintendo people.
PC Master Race. I don't know.
Yeah, like they just joke. They just be joking. They don't be joking.
Because the moment because PC people always put themselves in the middle of the Microsoft and Sony people. PC in between their debates, like no one's talking about PC whatsoever.
But they also know the facts behind. They're not wrong in their
Oh no one's saying that they're wrong. People are just that the conversation didn't involve them at all.
Even in their talks about the consoles and their disparities, they know when a console can outperform the other.
Here's the PC Master Race people what they do. PC Master Race is the people that when you're having a conversation, like relating it to like real life, when two people are having a conversation, debate, PC people are the people that come into the room not involved in the conversation and just want to put their joint on the table. Like, we didn't even ask for your opinion. Like, you weren't even in this conversation. They'd be like, yeah, so what? My thing, I'm better than what you're talking about anyway. So, and then just leave. Like, what?
And we like, yeah, Xbox, your little cousin Xbox over here, like, yo, what's up, fam? Like, bitch, that's what they.
And they're right.
Remember me without the expandable memory?
Right. They're not wrong about any of it. So, I mean, it's laughable that, when people that talk about consoles like, yeah, these new consoles are going to be, these are the benchmark for, PCs now. Stop it. Stop. Stop the madness.
So speaking of these console people, how can you have a person so committed to a console that they wouldn't even be willing to switch for their favorite franchise?
Exactly. Because they're not, again, like, because
how can you even fathom that? The commitment is so deep that because Microsoft bought it, you don't want to touch it.
No, not even just not touch it. Now they're just saying they're also saying
it doesn't matter now.
Even that good.
Yeah, those games weren't that good. Like, oh yeah, they weren't that good, but you put 150 hours into Skyrim, but it's not good, right?
on 5 different consoles.
Bruh, everybody played through Skyrim. Everybody who played Skyrim once played it twice.
Right. All of a sudden, it's not
that
good.
That says enough about the game.
Once played it twice.
Stop the madness.
Everybody.
At least started it again.
Right.
Like, all right, I'm going to do a new build this time, or I'm going to take a different approach. Or I didn't get these side missions last time. Let me go back.
I realize that those people aren't gamers. When I think about people that are that hardcore about one console, they're not gamers. They're just, I don't know what to call them.
That's a fanboy.
Yeah, right. They're not, like, a gamer is somebody that's like, okay, I don't care what it is. Is it good?
Is it good?
Like, is it Nintendo, Microsoft, Xbox, PC? Is it good? Like, do I have access to it and can I play it? Like, okay, can I? Damn, that game looks good, but I ain't got that. All right, well, maybe I might check it out.
I get that eventually.
If I can get some extra funds up, maybe I might check it out one day. That's a gamer. Gamer is not somebody that ties himself to one thing and be like, man, this thing is fire and nothing else is better than this. That's not. I don't care what console it is, whether it's Nintendo or Microsoft or Sony. It don't matter. If you just tie yourself to one thing, and again, I separate PC people from that because they always get everything. So like whether it's on market,
they just get it eventually, and then
so say like they
just mod it.
Yeah, they get access to all these games anyway, so they don't count in this discussion. But like console, we're just talking like consoles. Like, you're not a gamer if you just tied to one thing. Unless you're 6 and you only have what your parents give you, you don't count towards this conversation either. But you're an adult. And you're like, yeah, this one thing is it. This is the joint and nothing. No, you're not a gamer. You're just like C said, you're a fanboy. You're somebody that plays games on one particular device. You're not a gamer. You're just you bide your time by on this one particular.
That's a bold statement, bro.
Yo, and I'm gonna stand on this hill and die on it because I get to have that opinion because I fashion myself as being a gamer. We've been down this path already.
Even a lot of the quote-unquote fanboys that we talk about, they either own a PC or they own an Xbox or they own a Switch in the background.
They do. That's true. Good point. Because they always have that one because they have them for those properties that don't make their way to PC. And again, they're gamers because they don't tie themselves to one thing. They play what is it good. They keep an open mind about what they want to play. You can't tell me that that a true gamer is going to sit on one console and not look at any of the other ones and say to themselves, "Damn, I wish I could play that." Like, yeah, I mean, for the length that I had of time that I had a PS4, I didn't get to play Spider-Man or God of War. Do I want to? Yes, of course I do, because those are A1 titles that I didn't get to play. And as a gamer, I want to play them. Like, that's naturally, like, because you can't tell.
On the flip side of that, I don't want to spend $400 on a console to play 4 games.
Same. You 100% agree with you, which
Especially
is why I haven't played them.
That I have is more powerful and already runs those common games better anyway.
Correct. And when you have something like Game Pass, where I don't have to buy them outright either, it's even better. to give me that, because I'll have more access to be able to play more games and not have to pay the upfront cost for them. And again, you can't, the people that, especially the Sony elitists that play on only that, are lying to themselves and everybody else when they tell you that they don't look at other consoles and be like, I don't have access to that, but I want to. Like, you can't tell me there's a bunch of racing heads that exist on the Sony platform that Gran Turismo has been defunct at the moment for the last, I don't know how many years, that don't look over at Microsoft like, damn, that Forza look like it's hitting. Yeah, it is hitting. Because it's fire. Like,
why'd you make them look like they were itching, like they were just itching to play Forza?
Because if you like are if you are a true racing fan and you are tied to one
fan, you are looking at this Xbox right now, sweating.
Facts. Because you were because all they have to do now, they're keeping their fingers crossed.
6 is an exclusive.
They're keeping their fingers crossed.
It is.
Right.
And Prey and Doom and Dishonored.
I feel like
is done.
And I feel like it might come over. Microsoft might be like, all right, we'll hold on to it for a year, then y'all can get on. Like, they might do something like that. They could.
I think they're gonna push Starfield out, being a new IP. They're gonna push Starfield out, being a new IP. They're gonna push that out to everybody. They're gonna hold one of them.
And here's
one of them gotta get held.
But Microsoft is, and they can put that stuff out and be like, yeah, these other consoles can get it, because guess what? You may have to pay $70 for it on a PS5, but if you buy an Xbox and come get it over here, you can get it for free on Game Pass. So what you want to do?
Hold on, release it for $70, and then when they buy,
and they getting a cut of that too.
When they buy the game and cut it on Xbox Game Studios exclusive.
So you buy it. So they let PS5 get it. So everybody that buys it on a PS5, Microsoft getting a cut of that.
And they gotta see it every time they log on the game. Xbox Game Studios exclusive.
Or those people could get themselves in the ecosystem and just get that joint for free when it drops day one. You can pre-install it. They always had the pre-install for those big games.
Months ahead.
Hey, come check it out on Game Pass.
I pre-installed Wasteland 3
like
9 months prior to its release. Because I was excited, thought I was going to play it. Looked at it in February, was like, oh, this shit says August 28th. Oh, my goodness. Yep. Well, here I go. Here goes the wait.
100%.
Man.
Yeah. So, I mean, I feel like we've covered everything under the sun here.
Most definitely.
Yeah, I mean, games are great. Go get Game Pass. Sports are what they are. Kind of shit right now.
Unboxing coming this way. I might have to hold off on mine. Just like I might just have to put it back in the box and reopen it when Reed gets his, so we can do it together.
We could do that. We're gonna arrange that. We'll arrange that.
Yeah. Y'all ain't gonna know that.
That's okay. Right, exactly.
I'm gonna be there too. I'm coming to.
You just told them.
You're not gonna be nowhere. My house. No,
they won't remember.
November 10th to the 11th, wherever Courtney is, I'm gonna be there too.
But yeah, so we got all that covered.
He gonna open the box and Dre gonna be inside the box.
Like, what's up?
He gonna pop out.
Yo, you got the Xbox, right?
We got some games, sports, some randomness. # free dev.
Free dev till it's backwards. We love you, Dev. Stay down.
Free dev. People that still playing Madden. I mean, we're still waiting on a rematch from Dre. Keeps ducking Dev apparently. So that is what it is. I mean, that's what I heard. That's all I heard through the grapevine.
Also, I'm kind of hyped, and I figure I'm gonna announce I'm on an 11 game winning streak in regs. So. I'm just celebrating that. So
shout out to you. I officially uninstalled Madden from my hard drive, so there's that. Got no space for that. I got no space for that trash.
Has it even been
no space for that here? I mean, I'm on it. But.
Has it even been a month? I'm not even sure. I don't even think it has.
It's been a month.
It's been a month. I officially, now, mind you, I haven't played it in 3 weeks. So
not in the official capacity. I think it was the 20. Oh yeah, it's been a month now.
It didn't even make it a month of playtime. Let's say that.
The yard was fun while it lasted, guys.
It only made a month of install time on my hard drive, so it's officially gone. Because I don't want it there and I needed space for other things.
Smart man. I wish I had your strength, but here I am.
Destiny 2 is on Game Pass, by the way. So
it's good.
I just can't find myself diving into that world. I don't
know. I'm
downloading it right now, like as we speak.
Yeah, I'm giving it another swing.
I'll give it another swing when Destiny 3 comes out.
Bring Bungie back to Halo.
You know what it is you can get all the it also comes with some additional content.
The two expansions.
It comes with the expansions, all that other stuff, but I'm not trying to compete.
That's a lot. It's a lot of work. That's a lot of work.
Mad light levels and all that other stuff.
I'm gonna see if
they're already ready for those dungeons and those trials.
This is already giving me vibes of like one of them games where like I play it for like a week and I'm like, man, I ain't got time for this.
Yeah, that's exactly what's about to happen.
Now, if they put Skyrim on Game Pass, I will say I will get into that kind of. I played it when it originally came out. Maybe
I don't know if I'm gonna be on this podcast anymore because I'm not gonna be doing nothing if we get Skyrim on Game.
And I didn't play it. Really,
especially on the Series X. Oh my God!
I didn't get deep into it like that.
Give me that remastered.
I will check it out if it comes to Game Pass.
If they were able to pull off a remaster at this point,
Microsoft gonna figure something
with it again. Todd Howard and Bethesda would definitely release Skyrim one last time.
Yeah.
They definitely could get it one more time.
That game's a masterpiece, bro.
Shout out to Phil Spencer for saving the Xbox, by the way.
Yeah,
let's understand that happened.
I'm actually gonna finish Dishonored. Is what I'm gonna do if I see that on Game Pass.
Oh, it's coming.
Wasn't
Dishonored 2 on Game Pass for a while?
Dishonored 2, Prey was on there for a minute.
Dishonored 2 is on Game Pass.
Yeah, so
and Prey is gonna come back. All the Bethesda.
Just locked it up.
Just wait.
I never played Prey, but I guess we ain't gonna
review that. Prey is underrated love for Bethesda community.
Yeah. So they wasn't putting trash out. They just wasn't putting out 10s.
I'm excited to get my hands on Doom Eternal on the
people were saying that like Bethesda is like the king of 8.5 games, and they done wrong with the occasional 10. Like
the games just be a little bit glitchy, but they be quality games.
Right. But
they'll
that's okay.
A couple Oblivions. They'll pair with a city and give you a New Vegas.
Give me an 8.5 anytime.
Gonna be out the door.
New Vegas 2.
Microsoft being
that New Vegas 2 is gonna be coming soon.
Right. Give me an 8.5 any day. No, I'm good with that. That's consistency. I like that. I like consistency.
New Vegas 2.
That's what Bethesda does.
Exclusive.
They don't always hit a home run, but they usually good for a double. And that's fine by me. Like,
I need to come through with a double BioWare and this Dragon Age 4. But we gonna talk about another day. See,
that's a whole. They put that at the top of the docket next week.
We're not gonna jump down that rabbit hole.
Correct.
Put that on the top of the docket.
And right along with it, right next to it is Mass Effect Trilogy Remaster. Let's just get that.
Big fan.
I'm gonna be like this. I'm gonna be like.
Put that right there.
Yeah, we'll talk about that because actually. We should know something about that this upcoming week.
Correct.
Coming in October, that Mass Effect
remaster. We get that information.
Mass Effect, bro.
Yeah.
So what they said is that they're not going to include the multiplayer from 3 in Mass Effect.
That's okay.
So it seems that the issue that they were having was that the first one wasn't looking graphically impressive enough to release it at launch.
But I expected that though, because they needed a whole rework.
Yeah,
we're gonna really get invested in it because unless you just love the universe, you can't get through that game. You're like, what the fuck?
Not graphically, hell no.
And combat UI, like the AI, all that shit, it just wasn't.
It didn't get elite until 2, but
so it would literally need a remaster, rework the first one.
Correct, a true rework.
Let me ask you this: do you think they just take Andromeda and then just
burn it?
Just drop it in like the way the gameplay was.
Fire and leave it alone for good? Yes. Burn it all.
I respect that.
Just give me the trilogy.
Multiplayer, fine, good, all that. But these characters,
I love the multiplayer in 3.
Give me the trilogy.
Yeah, so the characters in Andromeda, completely forgettable.
And the multiplayer in Andromeda is pretty good too.
No, yeah, because it resembled 3. Multiplayer, great, but it's that horror style. But we gonna talk about it.
Correct. We will. We got that stuff coming up. So look out for that stuff.
Almost fell down the damn hole. Almost.
We should have talked about
that. But, again, we appreciate anybody that came in here to join us to check this podcast out. There was some bumps in the road. My computer decided it wanted to do computer things.
It was smooth. You good?
But it reworked itself somehow. But again, thank you. We appreciate y'all. Thank you, C-Dre. Appreciate y'all. Dre, where can they find social media?
So on social media, find us on Twitter at Sports Games Anon. Instagram, you can find us at Sports Gaming Anonymous. Join the Facebook group at Sports Gaming Anonymous. We also stream live right here on our YouTube channel. And then we also stream live on all of our individual Twitch channels. And yeah,
that's the mile right there.
Pretty much it right now.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate that. And again, come check us out. Come check out the groups. Join. Have good conversations. And see it's past C's bedtime apparently. While it out. Thank you. We got more content coming. Podcast next week. We got podcasts in the works. Got some new things coming for y'all. So again, keep watching. Keep checking the group. Keep checking the Facebook page. Keep checking the YouTube page. Keep checking our Twitter. Make sure you got all the information. Stay up to date with what we're doing. Yep. So again, thank you. I have been your excellent host, except for like 5 minutes. And we will catch y'all next time. Peace out.
Get money, shine bright, stay beautiful.